were doing a vata chana? All right. So I'll tell you what we're doing. We have two streams going on, one there and one here. And I don't have time to do it. And this is my. Okay.
Well,
You were starting with making.
Absolutely, I am definitely starting with making kashaya with rooibos.
He's making a rooibos.
It's going to be a warming kashaya because
first, so
it's
we all
that
can have
kind
a drink
of day.
beforehand.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because in the
3 more
meeting
minutes.
you can kind of
Hey,
George.
Oh, George, nice to meet you.
George Robert. Robert, nice to meet you. Manjali.
So nice to see you.
Hi, George, Debbie.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We have two men, yay!
Hi, I'm Kaylin. Nice to
We
meet
never
you.
have
Hi, I'm
met.
Charu.
Him and
Charu, good to meet you.
sometimes
Good
like
to
he
meet
would
you.
answer to the movie talks out.
I like your apron.
Oh yeah. No, it was a birthday gift, and I think this is probably the second time I've gotten to use it because
Yeah.
usually cooking is such a day-to-day thing for us. Oh yeah, I can whip up something. We'll do this in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
There's no time to put on an
Yeah,
apron.
putting the recipe together for us is painful because everything is customized.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So George, did you start the AC 102 with us?
No, I don't think so.
So you are completely new. You guys want to start off with a little bit of your introductions, Charu?
Hi, I'm Charu Mahajan. I'm going to start a practitioner program with Manjulali.
You've already started.
I've already started, and I finished my counselor program at Albuquerque with Dr. Vasant Lad at Ayurvedic Institute.
Excellent.
And then I went to India with him to do his Panchakarma program and the Gurukul program. And I just came back in December, so then I'm working with her now. Thank you.
I'm Kaylin. I started the practitioner program in October. I did the counselor program with Manjulali as well. I loved it, so that's why I went into the practitioner. And so far I'm loving it as well, the workshops and things
Do
we've
you
done.
want to talk about the difference between counselor and practitioner?
Yes, it's very different. The practitioner program is much more clinical. We get into different diseases and pathology. That's what we're doing right now. It's really interesting. I am super interested in it, and then we're going to get into even more herbs and what they do in counselor. But counselor is great as well.
In
I love
practitioner,
counselor.
we are focused on how to mix and create formulas.
Exactly. So we'll be doing kalpamas. Yeah.
Pharmacokinetics and whatnot.
So I love it. Just to let y'all know.
Yeah. Stephanie, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Stephanie. I started the counselor program in September or October,
September.
and I also love it. I teach yoga, so I think that the Hatha yoga and the Ayurveda really complement each other. So I'll definitely go on to the practitioner. So then eventually I can incorporate the two, and I love it.
I'm Debbie, and just happy to be here to join the group again in January. And I'm actually a registered nurse, and so just definitely interested in. I kind of see all the medical aspect and the approach, and don't adhere to all just the approach to healthcare and health wellness. So I'm really excited about this program, and definitely will be moving on to the practitioner course after we finish this.
I'm Robert, down from North Texas, where I am an entrepreneur and I teach yoga and meditation. Started with Steph back in August, and we've been meeting nearly every week since online. This is our first time getting together. I've loved everything that I've learned so far, despite how far behind I am in all the homework. And I look forward to joining the practitioner program too once this one's complete.
Hey, my name's George. I just started a counselor program a couple weeks ago. I'm living in Fort Worth right now with my wife, and I'm originally from Austin, but
So, are we going to go into the Kashaya?
Yeah. Yeah. So now we are moving on to, we're going to start off with, hi, I'm Manju Ali. I should say hi. Namaste, I'm Manju Ali, and we are going to start our Ayurvedic nutrition lab by making kashaya, chaya, rooibos, and a lot of custom herbs, and Apul is going to be doing it. It'll be streaming both from here, YouTube, and also from Facebook Ayurveda College online page. All yours.
Okay, well, I am Atul, as you all probably know, and I helped Manjulali found the college about, 10.5 years ago now, and my background is in cooking originally, starting from when I lived in an ashram 40-some years ago, and that was what led me to Ayurveda, and I also, as you know, do the Sanskrit and philosophy stuff. So we're going to start with a kashaya. Kashaya basically is a decoction. It's an herbal formula. We put together different things, and it's always customized. So what we're going to do today is going to use rooibos tea, which is a no caffeine herbal tea from South Africa, and we're going to use all stuff that's warming because it's a little chilly outside. It's a cold time of year, and it's a good time. And this is also all digestive boosting. Okay, so let's get started. I have a close-up stream on Facebook here. So, so this is the rooibos tea that we're using. We get this in bulk on Amazon. I think we pay about $16 for this 1 pound bag, and it's certified organic. We're going to be using a lot of fresh ginger. We're going to be using, I've got these all together in one thing here. I have star anise, cloves, and nutmeg. And I grind these all.
You can go and look at what he's doing.
I grind these all up fresh. I've got cinnamon chips. I've always been a fan of using whole cinnamon, and I recently found a source of these good cinnamon chips on Amazon, and I find they're much easier to grind up in the mortar. If you've tried grinding cinnamon in a mortar and pestle, you know it's kind of like trying to pulverize wood. It is actually the inner bark of a tree, and it's really hard to grind it up. But these actually are much easier to grind, so you can see what they're like. Fennel, obviously, everyone's seen fennel before. Black pepper, everybody knows what black peppercorns look like. I don't need to show that. And this is the pipali, or long pepper, and you will find it under many different names. It is sometimes hard to find, even if you go to an Indian grocery and you say, I want pipali. And sometimes they'll say, huh? So this is called mugga. Or sometimes you ask for long pepper and they'll give you something else, which is not. This is the stuff. This is long pepper. Tell you what, I'm going to hand one of these and you can hand it around. You don't need to give it back to me, you can just pass it around. That's what it looks like, okay? And if you you can also break off a tiny little piece and bite it if you're feeling adventuresome. It has a hot and tingly taste to it. So it feels hot and spicy like black pepper, but it also gives you this kind of tingly, you know how cloves give you that little bit of numbness and tingly feeling? That's what long pepper does. So I've got a pot. I'm making a large quantity. So the first step is I've got some water that's already hot. I'm going to be making about double the quantity I normally make for 4 people. So I'm getting my hot
From
water.
this side, I think it's easier to see.
Sorry?
If you come this side, I think it might be easier
Yeah.
to see. I think this one. You can.
So I'm putting the flame on. We usually want to bring things to a boil, but we don't boil the tea leaves. The leaves are a little more sensitive. We also don't boil the cardamom. So this is a pretty good quantity, and so I've got the water preheated so we don't have to wait for it. While we're waiting for the water to boil, so you can see here the amount of ginger that I have. I'm going to use, this much of it, okay? And I'm just going to shred it up using this ginger grater. You could use more also. This is going to be enough to give it a fairly solid ginger kick. But you know the properties of ginger, fresh ginger, it is a digestive, it is good for the immune system, it increases heat, you know, it has all amazing properties. It's such a widely used thing, and I can't possibly say enough good
Prabhuji, can you
things
remove
about
the
it.
rooibos because it's in front of the camera? Perfect.
Yes. And, all right, so I put that directly in the pot. So now I'm going to take things. So I'm going to take, now remember, this is what we're making for 8 people. So normally I would have this pot. I always use the same pot. I like this pot because it has a little spout on it. This is our kashaya making pot. I'm making double the usual quantity, so usually I make about enough for 4 people because we both drink a fair amount of it. We'll go through it over the course of a few hours. I'm going to take 2 whole things of star anise, and I'm going to grind everything up in the mortar. I always really, I like to use whole nutmeg. So you can see this is a piece of nutmeg that gets cut off. And I'm just taking a pair of kitchen shears, and I'm going to cut off a little chunk about, let me show you the size so you can see. I tend to wing it a lot. You know, I learned in the kitchen, there was this guy named Mahadev, and he taught me a lot of stuff when I was in the ashram and learning to cook. And I would say, Mahadev, how much of this do I use? And he would say, just enough and not too much. You know, I'd like to make it a little more specific than that. So you can see that's not a huge amount. Nutmeg is a very, it has a very strong flavor to it. You know, if you've ever tried tasting nutmeg, it has a strong flavor. It's very aromatic. And now, cloves, I'm going to put probably about 8 whole cloves in here, okay? And usually I would put about 4 or 5 cloves in. Cloves are very warming also, okay? So this combination of the star anise, cloves, and nutmeg, just for convenience, they're all whole, so it's easy to pick one of them out, and I keep them all in the same container. And I keep the container closed, and even though they're whole, they can lose some flavor, they can have evaporation of some of their essential aromatic oils. Fennel. Fennel is a good digestive. It is also slightly cooling. In the summertime, I would use less of the ginger, cloves, nutmeg, black pepper. I would use no long pepper in the summer. I would use no pipali. And I would use more of the fennel. I'm going to use a decent amount, you know, that much, not a huge quantity.
That's
just
2 teaspoons.
It's about, I'd say, 1.5 teaspoons. So that much. Cinnamon, now this is a very warming, it has a lot of properties. It is warming, it aids in digestion, and it has a couple of other... Kapahara, it is primigna, and it means it can destroy pathogens. So I'm using a fair amount. This is a cold weather kashaya, remember, as I said. And you know, this is going to give you kind of that pumpkin pie spice taste. And I know that's an overused, very cliche kind of thing. But those are actually warming spices that are used. Black pepper. Again, I'm using a decent amount. This is going to be warming. It's going to warm this up. It's going to be a warming kashaya. And finally, I'm just taking 2 chunks of this long pepper. So you can see it's 2 pieces basically. And I would normally use 1. And I'm going to grind that up. And the pitali or long pepper, as I said, it has a hot taste, kind of like black pepper. At the same time, it gives you that kind of tingly sensation like cloves, and it is very, very warming. People do not use this a lot in Indian cooking, but if you buy any spice mix, for example, this is a chaat masala mix, okay? So this chaat masala mix is a popular one that you can buy in most Indian grocery stores. What are the ingredients? Well, let's see, it has salt, amchur powder, black salt, cumin powder, coriander, muskmelon, black pepper, mint leaves, dry ginger, yellow chili, bishopweed, cloves, nutmeg, asafoetida, and caraway. Okay, this one doesn't have long pepper.
It should have long pepper.
It should have long pepper. It used to. I also make a chaat masala, which I think Manjulali is going to be covering, and we definitely use long pepper in that. But it's used in a lot of ready-made masala mixes, and those mixes can sometimes be very helpful because they are actually based on traditional recipes, and they all have properties. For example, this chaat masala that I was showing you, this is a mix that you can sprinkle on freshly cut fruit or steamed veggies or just about anything. It helps in digesting. Okay. So, back to the kashaya. I've got all these things in here, and now I'm going to grind it up. Now, I have to pound a little bit to start because some of these big chunky things want to bounce right out. You can also use that little coffee mill. We have this little coffee mill spice grinder. They're really cheap. You can buy them just about anywhere, and it does the same job. I really love mortar and pestle. You know, the mortar and pestle, this is one that someone actually gave us, and it's held up quite the while, except it broke off at one point.
And then you 3D printed a part, but that didn't last.
Yeah, I gave up on that eventually.
And he does 3D printing of whatever part gets lost.
Yeah.
Really? It's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm
Because
gonna.
the parts you can get. They want you to buy the whole thing.
Yeah.
He has his nerdy tech lab in the garage. No, you cannot see it. Science lab.
So, as you can see, this is now, it's not ground up into a fine powder, but I've, crushed it up pretty well so that it can get, release the important stuff. And I'm going to toss it in here. And we're still waiting for this to come to a boil. It's actually almost boiling. The other thing that I'm doing separately chaat masala
The
here.
one that you made.
Yeah, that's a good thing. You could also sprinkle it on some apple slices or something. That's a good way to try it. So this is cardamom. It's very important to get good quality cardamom. You want to get fresh cardamom. A good sign of fresh cardamom is the pods have a natural green color. They are naturally full, and if you crack them open, you'll see that the little tiny black seeds inside look kind of glossy and moist looking. That's because they're full of essential oils. And when the cardamom gets to be a year or two old, everything starts to dry out. You're losing a lot of the essential oils. So I'm putting a small handful, not a huge amount. If you have some lactose problem and you use milk in chai, the cardamom is actually helpful. It actually helps to digest milk. And that's why the traditional, the traditional diet in India, when people have milk, they'll always have it warm, never cold, and it will always have some cardamom added, or sometimes cardamom and saffron, because these are things that actually help with being able to process dairy. So I'm gonna, now what I do with cardamom is, you'll see, I'm going to crush these pods whole.
Can you just take it around and show the mixture?
Yes, I'm going to show. I've crushed these pods whole so that now I can actually scoop the pods out, and all I have left are the seeds. So you can see I'm going to fish these out. Yep. So I fished most of these are mostly just the crushed pods. I'm going to toss them in there because we're going to strain it all out, right? Because actually grinding the seed inside part is a little tough, and we want to get those fibrous pods out of the way. So I've got a few more here. I'm going to fish these out to make sure I
You
got all
can
the
get
seeds.
ready-made cardamom powder, but it loses its efficacy.
As soon as it's ground, this is one of the most delicate, and it has so many good properties, and once it's ground, it immediately starts losing its good qualities. And the difference between a good fresh, the best cardamom we had is someone came from Kerala, and they gave us a big bag of freshly harvested cardamom
From his
pods from their
plantation.
family plantation. And that was amazing.
The whole house would smell of cardamom.
Yeah. So this is now boiling. What I'm going to do is I'm going to toss in, for this amount, I'm going to put in 4 tablespoons of this. Cut the heat.
प्रभु जी दरवाजा बंद करो.
And
दरवाजा.
I am going to put in 4 tablespoons. So this is what the rooibos looks like. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're done with that. And finally, I'm going to grind up, because cardamom gets destroyed by boiling, so we do not want to boil the cardamom. So now you can smell what this is like when it's been freshly ground. Can you smell that?
I can smell it.
Yeah. So that's very fragrant. And that's it. Now we have everything in the pot. Let's move our Facebook stream over there, and you can see what this looks like. So there is our pot of kashaya. And, we'll let it sit for a few minutes. Should have a lid for that.
And Atul will share the recipe with you on WhatsApp.
Yes. So it's really fairly straightforward. We're just using warming spices. Now, what are some of the ways that we might customize this? If it was really cold, we might also add some saffron. Now, saffron is a bit expensive. We usually buy it in bulk. There's a little bit left from a previous batch, but we have more. You have these little red threads. You usually pay $40 for a 1-ounce tin, but that'll last about 2 years for most people. Even for us, it usually lasts that long. But that also can make the kashaya warming. Saffron also has a lot of interesting properties. It's like it can help.
Appetite suppressant.
It's an appetite suppressant. It's also good. It's good for fertility issues for men, particularly. It increases heat in the body. It also increases ojas. So it's if you get a really good Chyavanprash, they will actually use saffron in it. A lot of makers of Chyavanprash do not use saffron because they're just a little cheap. Yes. So there you go. So I guess I'm going to filter this out. And then, I think we have one that's, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and filter this out. And then these leaves really don't take that long to steep. So I think it's pretty We have some regular organic whole milk, we've got oat milk, and we've got soy milk. Did we get almond milk also?
No.
No, so
I
that's
forgot.
it on the
We can
milk.
make fresh almond milk. If you-
Usually, when we
I'll do
make
it now.
kashaya, once the leaves are done steeping, of course you can have them steep longer if you like. Then you filter it out, and you can keep it hot for some time, just as long as you don't bring it to a boil. And then adding your milk, soy milk, almond milk, whatever, at the time you're ready to drink it, is usually we found is the best way. If you add that up front, it starts to deteriorate more quickly. And of course you can have this later, once it's cooled down, you can have this at room temperature or cold. So let's go ahead and get this all straightened out. A little more tricky with the big pot. And there's not really any point in trying to reuse the stuff, all that stuff that we put in here. It's kind of a one shot. You've gotten about 75% of the good stuff out of it, and the remaining 25% is getting more goodness out of that is going to be an uphill battle. So we usually just discard this part.
I have no idea what I did with it. I'm borrowing someone's pen. Thank you very much. This is like dried celery. Right? Oprah has this.
And now you can see the color also.
Rooibos chai. That's ready made $20. And it doesn't use energy like this.
Okay,
This is what
so we have a ladle.
this is fresh.
And how do you want to do this? Shall we put it in plastic cups and?
Oh no, I don't get cups now.
Okay,
You guys ready to have some rooibos chai now?
are we ready? Okay,
Well, I guess we put a little bit in.
so I'll split each one halfway. I'll just put one scoop in each. There's plenty, okay, so you can have,
We can even put it in this.
yes. And if you want to sweeten it, we have not sweetened it. I always have chai unsweetened. She always has chai sweetened. We have organic raw sugar, and we have agave, and we have honey, and we also have organic coconut sugar. So here's our sweeteners collection. Do we have
Yeah.
agave?
I put stuff usually up, and my stuff is here.
No, I don't think we have agave.
We have agave. I'll get it. We have honey, agave, and rooibos.
Okay. All right. Well, don't be shy. Step on up.
What do y'all do for your milk to chai ratio?
It's really according to taste. That's why we just have it out here, and you kind of add as much as you like. Personally, I'll add just enough so that it has kind of a light tan color.
I add usually soy
She'll
milk
add
or
sometimes a
milk.
little bit more. Well, if she regular soy milk. She uses soy creamer, which is a little
And
bit
oat creamer.
more dense.
I just discovered oat creamer. I think it's better than the soy creamer.
Glass won't handle.
And now I can get to it.
I've just given everyone a little bit, but there's lots and lots of this. Be careful on the bottom there. The jury's out on this particular oat milk. I think it's when you have to shake it up a lot and it's still a little watery.
So it's just like a splash, right?
What's that?
It's just a splash of like.
Whatever you like. Yeah, you can add a splash. Yeah.
I do my Chyawanprash.
Did you get some?
And then if you want more, please feel free to help yourself.
It's really good with the milk. It's really creamy too.
Yeah.
Honestly, from home I get it simply because when you get the discount on Maharishi, it is like $12 or $13. So otherwise my actual choice is
Plano, actually.
They don't give
Yeah, not too far away.
I mean, I
We're
know
very close.
making chai.
As a
When I
family
was yoga training, we also make just regular chai. See, and I don't know why it's such an intimidating process because
Yeah,
you just
yeah, but my brother and his family just
It usually takes me about 4 minutes. I've got to open down and do it very
walking
quickly.
distance to Spiral Dine.
Okay, yeah.
I
You know kind of where.
Yeah.
It just takes more time to explain everything, but,
Pretty close to
you know,
The houses there are
and you just get used to all the variants of the season.
we wash is red color.
Yeah.
We wash is red
Have you been there a while?
Okay, that's what it means.
about a year.
We wash is came from South Africa. It is and it doesn't smell anything like that. It's not
Yeah.
slimy.
Well, so in the grocery store, so cardamom is usually a bit more expensive. I used to have a really good cardamom source on Amazon,
Yeah.
and then they stopped, and then it was Frontier.
And
I
you want to raise it
rather
down.
I drink
Tried
this,
to
I
get away a
think
couple of times, but returned to Plano also a couple of
Another one
times.
recently.
इसमें और चाय में क्या फर्क
Yeah,
है?
that's pretty much where I order everything off Amazon.
No,
Yeah.
There's a lot
So
of
that's where I
हाँ,
got
इसका
the
रोटी
cinnamon
भी है,
chips.
उसको मत भूल।
There's a lot of
हाँ, उसमें थोड़ा सा नमक डाल।
So for different seasons, like for summer, then you do less of the warming.
Less of the warming, a little bit more of the fennel, less of the ginger, and maybe a little bit more of the fennel. But you know, the thing is that when you mix this yourself, it's kind of like, you do it on a day-to-day basis, it goes very quickly, and then you get used to it, and you start. That's why I always say it's a very good thing when you want to start using all of these spices. Start out by making chutney, start out by making kashaya. It's one of the simplest things to do, and it's a very hands-on experience. You're using the spices, you're seeing the spices, you're feeling them, you're smelling them, and you start getting plugged into the whole, and there's a loop. I'm going to cook and use this, and then I'm tasting it, and then the next time I do it, I'm a little bit more aware, and you keep building up your awareness. It just can take some time. I was just showing the bulk stuff that I get. Where is these are my
I've
cinnamon
taken all
chips.
your stuff and it's all on the table.
Yeah. No, I was looking for the bag that the cardamom.
He hides his spices on the top where I can't reach it.
Yeah. So these are the cinnamon chips.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, these are the, and they're organic. The funny thing is, cinnamon used to mostly come from India. Now it mostly comes from Vietnam. A lot of rice production has moved away from India.
एक cashier है।
I order direct from Frontier if you ever want to get the whole
Yeah.
Quality
I'll
down
let you know
there,
next time I
but
place
of
something.
course in Ayurveda we believe.
Yeah, well, at one point I had to subscribe and save for cardamom. I get the rooibos also on subscribe and save on Amazon because we go through a lot of that. But anyway, yeah, Kashaya. And what happened to our, oh yes, so I'm all done.
You're all done.
I have a question.
Yes.
You can look at the camera and say thank you now. It's here.
Thank you.
Okay. Is this done?
So when you make, so like I've never used or had it with the rooibos, or however you say it, it's normally with the black tea. What is the difference? Is rooibos, is that cooling or heating? Or is it neutral?
So rooibos is an herb. It's a good thing to have if you're trying to wean yourself off of caffeine. So, you know, I've recently gone on a serious caffeine ramp down. I used to be a coffee drinker, or I have been for much of my life, and then I'm trying to get in shape for my 60th birthday, and so cutting down on caffeine was part of it, and so I have more tea. So rooibos has a lot of antioxidants. It's a popular herbal tea, and it's just a good substitute. It gives you that kind of satisfaction of a taste of
It's
some.
a tonic. It comes from Africa, South Africa. We call it rooibos.
Red
In
bush.
America, they say red bush.
Sometimes it's called red bush, but but I really like getting it in bulk like this, because then you can measure it and you're throwing everything together, and then you're just going to strain it out.
It's a general antioxidant tonic.
But
Overall,
in the morning, we also sometimes will take in half this quantity. We'll use 2 tablespoons of this rooibos and 1 tablespoon of these regular, chai, this stuff, the black tea from India.
Okay. Yeah. And I have done this. I have put roasted fig in there, which is so it's like $10 a packet, but then it becomes a ojas drink. Because figs, Amy's ojas. Oh, I found this on Amazon. They're just dry roasted figs as a coffee substitute. And then I loved it so much. I've been
Coffee, yes.
Yeah, I've sometimes taken it in a thermos to my office when I'm doing a consultation, and they're trying to quit coffee. I'm like, try this. So yeah.
So I've kept this on a low flame. If you want any more, please feel free to come help yourself, and there.
Dried figs.
Thank you, sir.
They roasted dry figs, and it kind of tastes like coffee. It really does, but a little bit. But I think people use chicory, so they can do this and the chicory. A lot of people are trying to quit.
Chicory is a
We're trying to-
popular coffee
Just a
substitute.
little bit
Okay.
for a little over a year now.
That's awesome. Did she show the studio?
Anybody makes chai at home?
Is that a city?
Yeah.
You make it?
But I don't run a house.
Are you not?
I'm not. No,
that's
so
great.
I'm Dallas, Plano.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah, I'm like 45 minutes from
Oh,
here.
nice.
So you're saying
Where-
chai, you're not
It's
gonna
called
cut it.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
no.
Yeah.
Chai in India, we automatically think it's a caffeinated thing. Here,
All right.
we're talking about the chai. The chai, like kava bear. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Where from originally?
Wisconsin.
That's why you don't find it cold here.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Monaco, Thandi nahi lagi. What's that? That's why you don't find it cold here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I still get chilled, but
Prabhuji, what was in the chaat masala that you made?
I use black pepper, spiffly.
Trickle basically, right?
Actually, I did not have dried ginger when I made that, because I couldn't find it. I use anagana. I use a little bit of coriander. I use roasted ground cumin and amchur. A lot of amchur, and then I add salt and black salt. So that's like the basic stuff. I think the common thing also that you see adding a little bit of powdered ginger. I think that's really good.
Yes.
I mean, it is. You get the hard
There's a lot of carbon in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Apni, it's your turn in 5 minutes. Whenever you're ready.
I just like lazy when it comes to
And then you could,
Are you
go
ready?
back to it and then talk about each one.
Yeah.
Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, I can talk about it. Like, that's me to don't
So what? 10 minute बोलना है.
I don't know.
Mix नहीं करके दिखाना ये चीजें.
कितना करना है
एक चम्मच.
इसमें मिक्स करो
इसमें डाल के mix करो ये सारा
नहीं बट नींबू को एक पिंच
A
डालनी
lot
है
of contour and a good
yes,
amount,
नींबू pinch
quickly,
डालना है, उनके
fair
साथ
amount,
mix
black
करो।
pepper, decent amount.
उनको चाय पीने को सब
I
लोग चाय का
will
आनंद उठा
send
रहे
a
हैं।
recipe and give some proportions for it also, but yeah, a lot of onshore is a very prominent part of it, and salt was,
I need to what you have to grind it yeah
black salt will be
kind of double
less
it
than half of what is the regular salt.
Okay, maybe this is other people.
And, you know, that's into the makeup. A lot of Kanadana, because Kanadana also gives, along with the amchur, gives a little bit of sourness and
ये पैकेट है मिक्स करके
इसको वो कर
पहले सबसे पहले
yes, well, typically,
सबसे पहले वो उनके
I
साथ
always use typically,
I will come and introduce the spices. आपने मिक्स करने के बाद इसमें डाल दो।
लेकिन एक किसी में मिला के
ये मिलाने के लिए
अच्छा
ये चम्मच है और ये वेट हो जाता और ये जो है वो शार्पी है इसके ऊपर लिख सकते हो।
I have never seen someone powder differently. But anyway, I think it's
नहीं मेरा वापस
आपको वाला चाहिए
इंग्रेडिएंट्स भी लिखो या खाली बात
it doesn't crush quite as easily as black pepper for it. We went to Florida, we did like the opposite of everywhere. They had cinnamon trees. They had the like the diagram, the black pepper, the creeper. They had everything. Only thing was missing was the legend. And now,
Yeah, so that's definitely something I've missed living there.
Full green space here in this little, I wasn't before working. And they do a lot. They
actually not
put a
a
lot
lot
into
of
their
people
parks
who
and
at
stuff.
home,
Just
but we usually just get the ready-made this year.
Same kind of water.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. The water here is really nice too. Are you originally from Austin? Or?
I guess yeah, the older I got, the more I took advantage of like the green space here.
She's really good at herbal formulation. I'm just a cook.
This country has six private teachers in yoga but that's not how it is. The teacher is not doing
That's so funny that you say that because I had a conversation with other two. I did a workshop on coming up with you did my first
You're
workshop.
saying when they introduce yourself, you had a meditation group and
Yeah.
So this is you always have someone
Meditation like
who knows what they're doing.
2015, I think. Or 2015.
that's where you want to
Oh yeah. Well,
I was kind of naturally drawn to it. I was a freshman and
that is the.
there was this guy.
Well, I mean, it's not usually formulation. They only give a name to it, so you can read more on it. But where are they supporting?
He would sit in front of the screen and meditate for your posture, cross the and then I would go to class, and I would be there like an hour later, I'd come back, just still be there. I saw the guy like every day, and I was like, just kind of planted the seed in my mind, and I was like, sort of gave me a book on Buddhism at the same time.
You can usually trace and it'll
Kind of
be
do it, like 5 minutes a
typically
day,
it'll be a main component.
5 minutes a week or something like that. I couldn't really get into it anymore. But then over the summer I went and I took a job in like the countryside of Wisconsin, so I was really out there. There was nothing around. There was really nothing to do, so I just like meditation. And then yeah, so I ended up doing it.
If you're following us online, you're not missing anything. We're just in a little break and having chai and getting ready to start the next segment. So you're not missing anything.
Yeah, good amount. Wasn't huge by any means, but we had like 10 or 15 people. So yeah, it was definitely fun. So like the kind of Vedic Indian way of thinking, kind of the natural approaches of wellness, kind of just
Now
read
that
my
you come to
mind
the
up.
US, you're going to learn about Indian culture.
I was in like a
I
really
mean, I like that, but then I'm saying, oh, it is part of our
scientific, like rationalist, 100% mindset prior to that, and then once I got into it, I kind of opened myself up like okay, there's definitely all these, like there's other things to life that aren't just like what I learned in school, like that can be.
So you're not starting
So that's what
So one
I
of
got
the
into
reasons of Vata becoming out of balance is
get into Ayurveda. I know you said you're working on
I should do it, but I don't. It's your own practice.
Yeah, I think more like normal. It took me around 45 minutes.
You can totally use me because I want to get back to you.
Plano, so I'm about 3 hours further north than you are. Just slightly. We seem to have had all the same weather.
I never really been
been
over there,
crazy
And then
weather
I
for
when I
days.
have 5 trips, you want to have
Weird
in which I'm like, that's about
started seeing
Not for a few years.
started reading about it.
We used to.
We were together a lot. It just kind of makes just like the
I just started my first year back in August.
It's just like
there you go.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's get started.
It's a lot of information.
Yeah, I will check on you.
on my life for like
Camera is all pointed down here, so the whole table should be covered. You can see what is showing there.
Alright, I'm gonna introduce the spices. If you wanna take notes, you can, but you don't need to. Because everything is already in AC 102. Everything we are telling you, except for the chai, everything except for the chai recipe, everything is already in Google Drive. And I made actually new handouts, but I didn't print them because I knew everybody would be looking at the handouts and not at us. So that was my trick. Can I come in here first? Prabhuji, can it be on me?
Yes.
Are you starting with
There
that?
you go.
Yeah.
All right. Now you're a talking head.
Okay. Namaste. So we are talking about churnams today. Churnam simply means powdered spices. I had earlier given you a little bit of a powdered spice mix called chaat masala. Chaat means to lick. Lick masala, I mean lick powdered mix. So that was you're supposed to lick it. So Krishna says in the Gita there are 4 types of foods. One of them is meant for licking, like popsicle. But in Ayurveda, the popsicle, you lick that. Yeah, we also have Ayurvedic candies, and I have a ginger candy for you guys at the end of the workshop. So anyway, what I want you to do is I want you to come, whenever you are done with your tea, come and look at all the masalas. And if you could come here one by one and tell me you guys know all of this. Do you want to... Just want to know that you know them. Do you want to start, Debbie?
Sure.
Fennel seed powder, you know this? Pomegranate seeds,
Yes, of course.
dried ones. Ajwain.
No.
So okay, this is okay.
Caraway seeds, right?
I don't think it's actually caraway.
Okay.
It's more like it tastes more like dried oregano seeds, but it's in the family of oregano.
Okay.
Coriander,
Coriander,
cumin, methi, which is another fenugreek, cardamom, black pepper, dried ginger, long pepper.
Okay, that one I didn't know about till today.
Yeah, okay. And this is dried fenugreek leaves, and that is another version of fenugreek. Yeah. That we will come to that later. Do you guys want to come one by one?
What is this?
Oh, this is cassava flour. This is because I'm going to be anything that you didn't know.
I've never had them dry.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think
You know all of them. Have you used any of these?
Yes. So I have not used this. I've never cooked with fenugreek leaves. but I've used the rest of
You've been
these.
cooking with
Actually not actually.
This is the
Not
same
even
thing. That is just the same thing.
And
It's
I
just
don't think I've even cooked with that. I
Okay.
think I'm thinking
No.
fennel, which is not,
This is fenugreek.
which is
Methi.
different.
Yeah. So
Okay, yeah,
1,
so
2,
no.
and 3, they're all the same thing. Different
And
parts of the
4.
flower.
I'm not sure what that is.
Ajwain.
Okay.
It's dried oregano seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can smell. Yeah, you feel free to smell it if you want to taste it. Let me know. Actually, let's give you who wanted the anardana. Do you want to taste the anardana?
I do. And what was this again?
Pomegranate seeds.
Pomegranate. Yeah, it's just dried pomegranate. Sorry, we don't have much, so I'm just giving you one.
Yes, that's perfect.
You could share it with Robert. Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm not giving you guys. You already know this. It's simply just this.
Yeah, I've never used
They basically just take the pomegranate and dry it. It's a dried pomegranate. It's very important. Women support. If you have you have daughters, right? Oh, you need to have that. Yeah, you need to have that. Okay. Kitty, if you could just be a little bit here from the camera, that'd be fantastic. Is there anything that you use from here?
Everything but the dried pomegranate I've never used. I've used fresh.
Do you know about hing, asafoetida?
Oh,
Yeah.
my husband gets really.
We didn't put it out in a thing because it smells so much that the whole house will smell of hing.
You have to do hing right. You have to like saute it to
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the flavor.
No, we could do more things with hing. She's gonna talk all about it. George, anything? You remember we had the question what herbs you use? This
I
is
think
the
I've used all of these except for
that one.
the pomegranate.
And you what about fenugreek?
Yes, yeah, I've
How-
used both.
How do you use fenugreek?
The seeds for before, like in the beginning for.
Which one of you has been doing the Indian cooking? I can't remember. You wrote the was it that you? Yeah. Okay.
And then the leaves like at the end, like kind of crunching up.
Yeah.
and throwing them in.
Yeah, and
It's just
also
all recipes.
it tastes like dill, so you know you can make like a potato salad with those as well. What about you, Griffin?
I've used a good amount of these. Never used the what's pomegranate seeds. Used fennel seeds. Never used ajwain. Used coriander.
Cumin,
I have used cumin. What's this?
methi, fenugreek,
Never used that. Black pepper, yes. Cardamom, yes. Dry ginger, yes.
long pepper,
No. No.
kasuri methi. Yeah, okay. No, okay. So pretty much everybody has some idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Charu, who's one of my practitioner students, and she's going to be talking about things, and I'll also be interjecting and talking. So she's also going to make a masala mix for you guys, which you are expected to make at home yourself. If you have whatever's left over, you can try making it here as well. So she is making a vata churnam. Churnam means a mix, spice mix. And the way she's making it, when you may not be, now, my insurance doesn't cover mixing stuff and giving it, so I make 3 different packets, and I give it to my clients and say, mix it when you use it. Now, usually, if Debbie, you're a nurse, you definitely don't want to mix it because your insurance probably doesn't cover it either. But if you don't have any kind of license or whatever, it doesn't even matter because it's a spice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're giving it as a spice mix, it doesn't matter. But if you're giving it as a supplement, like a ginger tea, ginger is. But if you read ginger tea aids in digestion, then it's a health. But if you say ginger tea for taste, then you can. So it's.
That's
So,
good to know.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So you know, Shubha ji, abhi aapki insurance hogi na?
नहीं अभी तक नहीं है I mean, I'll get it now later on.
Yeah,
I mean,
so Shubha
I mean
ji
I
is a
have the
physician.
psychiatry but not for
Yeah, but so for physicians, I know I don't know what the Texas laws are, nursing, but I know Texas is a health restricted state. In California, we did a lot of stuff that you guys can't do. Like they allow leeches. Yeah, Colorado does even more than California. They're going to be probably end up going to the first state to license Ayurveda, but not here. This is a long way to go. So the way we just written Vata Churnam. So when you've written Vata Churnam, Churna literally means a spice mix from India or Indian Vata spice mix. Yes, then we can do it because it's a spice mix. The minute you write it's a digestive aid or whatever, do not mix it. Okay, and yes, you will have to get insurance. If you're a yoga teacher, you just can add Ayurveda in your the yoga. but otherwise you have to get it. All right, so Charu is going to talk about a couple of ingredients for Vata. You don't have to stay there. You can come near, just not in front of the camera.
Yeah. Hi. So for Vata children, Manjulali's recipe, we are going to use a little bit of hing, fennel seed, coriander seed powder, and cumin seed powder. And like all three, these three we'll use like in equal quantity, but we never use hing in equal quantity. It's very heating, and it'll just taste bitter if you add together. And since fennel and coriander are sweet in taste, and hing and cumin are a little bit heating, so it pacifies Vata dosha, which properties, if you know, it's like dry, light, cold, and it's so mobile, like air and ether it's made up of. So these things, if you combine, and you can put on your food or on your while cooking, you can add to your like vegetables, and it'll calm the like gas and bloating after meals, especially beans if you're having. It calms down the bloated feeling afterwards if you have. So and it helps stimulate digestive fire, which is called as Agni. So it's a Deepana. Deepana means it kindles the digestive enzymes in your body, and also it helps with Pachanam. I don't know if you talked about Ama, which is the undigested sludge in your body, and it helps digest that, and it helps eliminate from the body. So especially people with Vata Prakriti and Vikruti, it's very good for them. And Manjulali, should I just start adding it?
Okay, one thing I want to say. So when you've noticed we have a lot of stuff in seed form, and we are making fresh powders because they lose their efficacy. Like you can buy ready-made so-called curry powder. It's useless. Throw it out if you're, it is useless. So you can make your own, and if you put it in an airtight container, it'll last for maybe 4 weeks to a month. Then make a new batch. So when we are doing 1:1:1 for the CCF, I'm kind of doing the camera here as well.
So what I did is when I came earlier, I grinded the cumin seed, fennel seeds, and coriander. I'm just doing it right now in this.
So 1:1:1 is for. Let me just come here. You come here. So if you look at the size of the. If you look at the size of the coriander seed and fennel seed, you cannot do 1:1 because if you were to measure them, you'd need more of this and less of this. Right. But when it's powdered form, it has to be exact same mass and volume. That's what we mean by the whole 1:1:1. So we always have to make So we already did the fennel seeds. We did it in the morning. We already done the cumin.
So I'll just do the coriander right now in the coffee grinder.
And you wanna go?
So these are the seeds. If you just planted, the plant is called cilantro, if everybody knows, and you can garnish your food with it, and also you can make chutneys out of the fresh coriander leaves. And that's very cooling too. And it can be used both internally and externally. If some people have hives or something, or skin itching, you can just take the pulp and put directly on the skin.
The way I do the cilantro is I mix did somebody have a skin issue here or someone you knew? There was somebody who was putting. So you take the cilantro juice and you mix it in aloe. And that's what you actually put directly on the skin for these issues. There's so many little things like this. Oh yeah, cilantro is cooling, this is warming. So the same plant, in a seed form this is warming, but in the cilantro form it's cooling. Dry ginger, for instance, has different properties than fresh ginger juice, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Mix them.
So, okay.
One is to one. One.
Okay.
One. Like, that's one.
I'm kidding.
One.
And
this is your 1:1:1 basically. Exactly 1:1:1. It's more coarse. You can
And
smell
the
it.
fennel,
And we put a little bit of hing down.
Fennel is right here. Just like a pinch.
Or down. If someone has flatulence and bloating and farting all day, they want to have a lot of it. This is a fart dispenser. This is apana. You know that apana asana that you do? You'd have to take your knees and put it on your this thing, and you're holding on for like 20 seconds. Pinch of hing will also. So the combination of apana asana and this, then they will not be. Eat as many beans as you like. So you already know you cannot make tea out of this. You can smell the hing is very strong here.
That smells good though with the other. Normally hing is very, but with that it's
Yeah.
like cooling and it's like refreshing to smell.
And for taste, like you can add pinch of like salt, right? Rock
You want
salt.
to put it in the vata churnam?
Yes.
Who is vata here? Who wants to take it home?
Actually, yeah. Oh, and my kids, we're all about to.
Yeah.
But that seems so, that's super Oh, so, okay. I see. You're doing the dry mixes. Right?
We are doing the dry mixes. You can use the dry mix in cooking.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're doing like the tea, the CCF tea, then you will just use the fennel, coriander, and cumin powder mix, and then you make a tea out of it. But then you don't add hing.
Okay.
Yeah, you can if you want to. If you want to smell hing in your food, I like it. It's like a curry tea.
Yeah, I like it too. It's just I
Yeah.
was telling him, my husband and my kids, when I
Yeah.
make it, they get so mad at me.
Yeah.
Because the whole house smells
Yeah, the
like
whole
it.
house smells like it. Yeah.
When
Go ahead.
when I was trying to buy hing, I noticed a lot of it was mixed with like weed or flour.
It has to, because it's basically a resin that comes out, so they have to use rice. This one is rice flour because I try to avoid gluten for
Okay.
myself. I prefer one with, ask for gluten-free hing, and that's basically they take rice flour and they mix the hing with the rice
Oh,
flour.
I see. So it's okay.
It'll always be wheat or rice, but I prefer rice.
Okay.
Where did you get yours?
Just Indian store. Just tell them gluten-free hing.
You get it in a rock form also.
You can, but
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah, you can get the resin if you want to get the
Yeah.
pure one. It is 100 times more smelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
And with the hing, you should always heat the oil and
आपने
then
हर
add
एक में डाल दिया है? नहीं
Yeah,
नहीं, ये एक
तो
ही
सारे-
दिया। Okay, कोई बात नहीं।
मैंने सफेद वाता चूरन लिख दिया.
ये लो, here's your vata churnam, your vata churnam,
Thank you so much.
your vata churnam, your vata churnam. Who else wants the vata churnam?
Yeah,
And your vata
Thank you.
churnam, and you can keep it. All right, so you want to talk about all these herbs now, Shavaji?
बोल सकती हूँ.
हो भी गया? हो भी गया?
Okay, I can talk about like hing. It helps. It's an analgesic and all the properties of
Yeah,
hing.
go ahead.
It helps. It's anti-flatulence. You already know it destroys even worms and parasites. And sometimes little kids, when they get tummy ache, they won't eat hing, but you can take a little bit hing, add water to it, and put on the tummy.
Colicky babies
Colicky
also.
babies.
You basically take a little bit of ghee and warm it, and you add a little bit of, and come behind you. Yes. Ikatte.
Yeah.
So you take a little bit of hing, you warm up the ghee, 1 teaspoon ghee only, or 1 teaspoon of, let's say, coconut oil. You warm it up. We can make that right now if you want. Shall we? The baby oil for colicky babies. Anyone has babies or nobody has babies? She has the baby. You ever used it for your baby?
No, I usually do like black seed oil, which is like black cumin seed oil.
Yeah, so take your
That's what I
black cumin
usually
seed oil, warm it,
Mhm.
and add a pinch of hing in it, and if you rub it, it will help the tummy ache. But
But
right now-
colic is more common in infants.
Yeah,
toddlers
toddlers don't get colicky, but if even with the, yeah, you can actually mix the hing in honey and give directly to a toddler.
Yeah, he loves honey. I'll
Yeah,
put
yeah.
anything in
Yeah,
honey
yeah.
to make him eat it.
Yeah.
And even in adults, you can just put a laper of water and hing on the lower abdomen. It
Yeah.
helps you pass the gas and flatulence.
But you smell like
you
hing.
smell like hing. That's it. Like, don't do it when you have to go to a party or something.
When I get headache, usually my elder son Kush knows I have a headache because I'll be smelling of brahmi, because that's what I put. I put brahmi and sesame oil on my head when I have a headache. So he's like, and the little one says, "Mommy, you smell like Ayurveda." He won't hug me. And he's used to spices. So.
And the for the another use of cumin seeds is when you grind it, you dry roast it, and you can put it in your buttermilk, and that helps you digest the because it's a little heating, so it helps you digest the yogurt, and it's usually put in Ayurvedic takra.
We'll make takra.
Yeah, and that's
You can make takra for us.
Yeah, I can. Super digestive, helpful, probiotic introduction into your stomach, and it's so gentle. Even little kids can have it if they are like not vegan, of course. Yeah. So what else? Like
Okay.
yeah.
You want me to take over?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
I think one of the things which we use, I don't know, when you make vegetables, when you're trying to saute in a little bit of oil, you usually put the cumin seeds and then the vegetables.
Yeah. Do not put cumin seeds without sauteing them in oil because it makes it bitter. And just like I always like to point out, like in Ayurveda, they always say ati sarvat varjate, like do not, if something is good, use it in balance. Just don't put like in everything. Like have CCFT the entire day.
I've seen people having CCFT like 20 cups a day. I'm like, what are you doing? 20 cups, I'm not kidding.
So balance
this is why
is
the
the key.
FDA bans things.
Yeah,
People do
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
So in Ayurveda, they always say it's balance, and it depends what you're out of balance. So find your Vikruti and go according to that. Yes.
That's beautiful. Okay, so basically I want to just go around and asking, I know this is here right now talking about cumin very quickly. How do you use your cumin, Kitty?
Cumin, like with curries or...
Yeah, that's it. How about like a tea? Would you make a
Yeah,
tea?
I've used it in chai, like when I do a chai, I'll even do a cumin, like a, I forget what spice, it's like a savory spice.
Okay, okay. How do you use it, Steph?
Usually I don't normally drink it just because I've never bought I've only bought the the crappy organic ready ground, so
Okay.
I'm looking to drink it. Probably just like when I heat my oil and then add
Just in
other
the curry,
spices
just
to make,
sauteing it,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's it.
Deb?
So, full disclosure, my husband is the cook.
Okay, that's fine.
So, but no, like when I do cook, I usually use cumin and rice.
Oh, okay, that's a beautiful way to use.
And then, actually, when I worked at a birth center back home in South Texas with the midwives, they actually made it for women in labor.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great for
the-
women in
the-
labor because it's anulomana. It pushes vata down.
Yeah.
So ajwain, cumin, fenugreek can be mixed together, and then you give it to women who are in labor, postpartum. It gets milk. It pushes things down naturally. But honestly, that time women are so they don't care. Yeah, but yeah, it's supposed to be good. So they sell these delivery pregnancy teas, third trimester. That's what these things are, except they have been powdered 6 months ago or whatever, so they don't have the same efficacy. So if you want to do it, we probably want to do a fresh one for these people. That's fantastic. I want to take, she said cumin rice. So, we have to put, when you want to reduce vata, when you want to reduce gas, so how many of you love beans, but many times it can cause gas? Yeah. So by using hing and vata churnam and cumin, we want to, especially in things like which naturally have high vata, like beans or rice, you want to put cumin in those things. It doesn't have to be just in a curry. There's many more uses of it. We'll get to that. Do you use it at all?
Almost exclusively for cooking.
Okay.
It always goes into like kitchery.
Fresh roasted cumin. You want to pass that around? So
This is dry roasted on an iron griddle.
We would usually roast it like this and then powder it, and that can be used as a garnish and added to things. You can actually just eat it. You can take a few of them and pop it in your mouth. And
So all the goodness of cumin is now out, and it must be used within 5 minutes once you've dry roasted it. It's a lot more potent than the way we use it.
So you can take a big batch.
No. Dry roasted नहीं कर सकते वो एक दिन के अंदर अंदर you have to use it.
immediately.
You have to use
Smell,
it
yeah, it doesn't smell.
because
bad.
because all the
Prana
this
is gone.
prana is this is the prana coming out. You're
Yeah.
smelling the prana basically.
Can you talk a little bit about the regular jeera versus kala jeera?
Yeah.
It's like you only need
I'll have to get my book.
Ah,
That's enough.
no, that's it.
See the difference between regular. This is actual just dry roasted on iron griddle. When we dry roast cumin on an iron griddle, it increases the fire in the cumin, number one. Because cooking anything in an iron griddle will increase the fire, number one. Does anyone know what is the taste of cumin?
It's
Cumin is pungent and bitter. So you just join. Everything has something called rasa. There are 6 rasas or 6 tastes, right? You talked about it, I think, in class. Not yet.
You had us read about it.
We had, there are 6 tastes, and so cumin is actually pungent and bitter taste combined. Yeah, but why are we giving something which is pungent to a pitta person? Because there's something called virya or energetic of an herb, which is when we make a spice mix, everything is based on energetics, not on the taste. Why? So when I'm asking you, you should not eat wheat because you should not eat, or I should not eat wheat because I'm kapha and wheat increases kapha. Because we'll use a lot of wheat, right? But when I'm saying everybody can have cumin, whether they are vata, pitta, kapha, because how much cumin will you have? Really small amount. So the taste is not that important in the spice mixes because you're using a small amount. What is important then is the energetic of the herb, which is different than the rasa or the taste of the herb. So anybody know if cumin is cooling or heating? She's the one who did her homework.
It's eating.
Cumin is cooling.
Oh, really?
It is, so there's a couple of, those who have just joined, please bear with me. You don't have to know these things. Deepan, Pachan, Anuloman, Shul, Medhya, Chardi, Shirovireshanam. These are, so you know how when we go to school, we have to learn Latin and Greek to understand the,
Medical terminology uses a lot of Greek,
medical
yeah.
terminology, yes. So the terminology in Ayurveda is Sanskrit. So a couple of words, even you guys who just, 2 things you must know. Deepan Pachan. Deepan Pachan. What is Deepan? You know the Indian holiday Diwali? Deepan Pachan. Deep means to light. Diwali is also called Deepavali, which means to light candles. So Deepan is one which lights. Yeah. Every single herb that you see in front of you is Deepana. It lights the digestive fire. So what happens is, I've noticed what people will buy all these books on herbs and they try to memorize. There's like hundreds of herbs. How will you manage to memorize? We're all adult learners, right? Remember, if you know Deepan, that if you say, oh, this is Deepan, this is not Deepan, this is Deepan. Right now, almost everything here is Deepan. So it lights so it's really good for increasing the fire of digestion. Now you'll ask, what about a pitta person? What if their digestion's too high? Right? So we come to that too in a minute. Then we use something called energetics in herbs, and energetic is there's only 2 energetics, which is called virya. Either something is heating or it's cooling. Heating, cooling, heating, cooling, heating, cooling, heating, cooling, like that. So cumin, coriander, fennel, all 3 is Deepan. That means it's good for digestion. It lights the digestive fire. If the fire is too much, it will decrease it. If the fire is less, it will increase it, especially when it's given with ghee. Right? Then the other thing is Pachan. Does anyone remember Pachak Pitta? Remember Pachak Pitta? Don't remember? Okay, doesn't matter. So one is which lights up the digestive fire, and these 3, cumin, coriander, fennel, all 3 will also, there is a concept called ama, she mentioned, think of ama as like
sludge, undigested food.
Yeah, so the regular food we eat, the regular food that we're eating, and it doesn't get digested by the body. Even if it was organic and was farm raised or whatever, it doesn't matter. If your body's not digesting it, let's say it's sticking to different parts of the body. And that eventually kind of decomposes. And that decomposed molecule is the ama. It gives rise to those free radicals and toxins, but it is not toxins. So that's what ama is. So most of these herbs are ama pachana. The top herb here that is ama pachan, meaning that actually destroys toxins, is dry ginger and pipali, these two. Top, number 2. So anything, because they destroy that ama, that sludge. Now that ama, that sludge looks a lot like hatha. It is like whitish, slimy. So in Austin, everybody's allergies. So all the phlegm, these two are the top. Dry ginger and pipali are the top. Right? So what we are doing is, you can do any combination and permutation of any of these for respiratory disorders, digestive disorders, and gynecological disorders. Some of them also for men. So, do you want to come and do the respiratory? So, Kaelin is going to make a churna, which is one of the most important churna in Ayurveda, called Tri-Katu. Tri means 3. Katu means 3. Katu, 3 pungents. 3 pungents, or 3 pungent bitters. So, this is a very, very powerful formula, and we use Tri-Katu in other formulas. Like for people with the rheumatoid arthritis, they have ama in their joints. So we mix that Tri-Katu in with something called gugulu. So other formulas have it. Now, all yours.
Hi guys. For y'all that I didn't meet, I'm Kaylin. So I'm going to be talking about Tri-Katu today. And we're going to be using black pepper, dry ginger, and pipali. So like she mentioned before, this spice mix that we're making, it's ama pachana and agni dipana. So it's going to kindle the fire in our digestion, and it's also going to scrape our body of ama. It's going to be 1 part of each. So the pipali, I'm not for sure if everyone was here for it. Oh no, it's gone. I was going to show y'all what it looked like. It's like a little pepper.
No, they already saw pipali when he was making the kashaya.
Yeah, it was passed around.
It was passed.
I just didn't know if everyone was here. I forgot. So when you smell this, it's really kind of like a pungent smell, bitter. Kapha, we have to remember, is wet and it's earthy. So we're getting a lot of mucus in the chest, mucus in the head. There can also be mucus in the digestive system, ama in these places as well. Like she mentioned, kapha is very similar to that ama. So when we're taking care of ama, a lot of times it's going to take care of kapha as well, vice versa type of thing. So if you want, you guys can come up here and smell this. And kind of smell this pungent, bitter smell. This is very heating for the body. Like we mentioned, it's, kindles the digestion. So it's very heating. We're going to heat up that cold, wet kapha to get it out of the body. Those are most of the things about it. Oh, it also helps with metabolism and weight loss. Like she said, it's helps with respiratory. So this is great for a lot of different ailments that come with kapha. Kapha, generally weight gain, respiratory issues, allergies, slow digestion. What are some?
Also in combination with other things.
Yeah,
like joints.
Joints. They mentioned some other things that I don't know if you guys have learned about yet. So that's how we make that. And I think you can ask questions. Yeah.
What do you do with this?
I'm a kapha vata, and I drink this. So you do mix the 3 parts of each, and you can make a tea out of it with some warm water. For me, sometimes I'll add some honey to it. You can also add this to food. So it is, I would, not use too much. It's heating. It can make it a little kind of spicy flavor from the peppers and the ginger as well. So yeah, you could add it to, your soups, teas. You can put it on some roasted vegetables. I typically do add this to a lot of soups as well, some liquid things that are going to help flush. So the dry ginger is really good. It has a scraping effect. So it's going to scrape the alma out of the body as well as the pipili and help kind of those accumulated also fat areas too.
Yeah. So if you add this, if you take before your food, it helps you kindle your agni, and if you take afterwards, it helps you digest your alma. So it's, or you can put it while you're eating it. Like it's multifunctional in that way.
That's a great point. Yes.
So when you drink it, this might be silly, but do you strain it out, or do you let it steep where it kind of, does it dissolve in the water and you drink it?
It doesn't completely dissolve. So if I'm making a tea, which I often, like I said, I drink this very often. Sometimes I won't even ground up the pipili like all the way. So it's a little easier to strain. It will strain some, but the powder is going to come through of the dry ginger and the black pepper, because those I do ground up completely.
Yeah.
So those will come through, and it'll kind of be waiting at the bottom of my glass. And sometimes when I get to that, I'll either kind of try to drink it, or if it's getting a little strong, I might not. I might just not drink the very last sip.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be in the water, and when I'm drinking it, I generally stir it while I'm drinking it so I can try to get some of the herbs to come down to.
Are you making tea with it, kashaya, cold infusion? What are you making with it? You're just putting it in water.
Yeah, I typically put it in like hot water, steep it, or I most of the time make like a kashayam with it. So similar to what he did, and that's for respiratory issues, because I get that a lot, and especially like allergies. We're in Texas, all the different allergies, our weather changes constantly. So I'll make a kashayam with it, and I'll drink it throughout the day. So it's sitting in there, and I'm Vata Kapha, so I can add honey to it. And depending on someone's prakriti or vikriti, honey might be not the best way to go. But for me, it works well.
Also, if you add licorice to it and a little bit of honey, and you roll it into like paste and dry, it becomes like a
Vati.
It's a vati and a candy kind of thing you lick.
And I've also done that with it. I've put it like in honey, like she said. You just kind of like, there's certain honeys that you can get are a little bit harder honeys, and I'll do that with that. And I've done that also when I had like some allergy issues and like the drainage, and my throat was sore, and it would help a lot, and it helped it go away. So it helped it go away within a couple days. It's really helpful for respiratory issues. It's great.
So my question is, it's all very heating, right? Pipili is heating. So if you have a pitta person and they have a respiratory issue and phlegm, and they're also inflamed, would you also give it to a pitta person? Yes or no?
After food, maybe.
No, you just add something cooling to it.
Yeah, you could do
Maybe
coconut milk.
Fennel, licorice, cardamom,
Cardamom.
and then it can be given also to a
Pitta
pitta
person.
person. Yeah. You could add turmeric, and you could
Or maybe neem little. Neem is
whatever
very
it
good.
is, like something easy to something that makes it tasty, and
Okay.
just simply cardamom.
So one of my favorite things to add to this is I'll do like a tulsi tea, and I'll add this to it because I love the way tulsi tea tastes, and it kind of, honestly, I can't really taste it that much, but I don't mind the flavor because I'm really used to it, and I've always loved ginger. Like, I like how you feel that heating as it goes down, like it's doing something. So I'll add some tulsi tea, which is holy basil, and I'll add it to that sometimes too, and that's great. Or
That's
the
actually
licorice.
a recipe also for upper respiratory related fever.
Oh wow!
Yeah, same thing.
So I use it for my
and,
asthma.
Yeah, prickatu and tulsi for upper respiratory. Yeah, but obviously if there is a infection infection, you have to add moringa or turmeric to it. But if there's no infection, it's just a general viral thing, then the tulsi tea with the 3-2 is perfect.
So I've done this, like all these herbs that she's mentioned, I've literally made all these different types of this mixture. Like I'll use this as the base and I'll add different things to it depending on, you know, what's going on in my body. Some days in Texas we have that hot weather and then a few days later it's cold. So I might do like she said, licorice. If it's hot outside, I'll still drink this. Also licorice, I'll usually mix it with like tulsi as well. And then turmeric. So all of these suggestions I've tried and they taste good when you kind of have like a nice base of tulsi or licorice.
You want to talk about dry ginger versus fresh ginger?
Yeah, so dry ginger is, as you can see, it's a powdered form. We are talking about powdered herbs, and it's scraping. Versus the wet ginger that y'all saw earlier, it's very juicy. So the dry ginger is really good for kapha, and then the wet ginger, and I mean the fresh ginger is kind of wet. It's good for vata. Yeah.
Gingers are good for their emetics. So that's why when women are pregnant, they will have chew on a ginger candy because it prevents them from nausea and so on. But one of the things that fresh ginger is, it's like a diaphoretic, so it induces sweating. So if somebody has a fever, you can, or whatever, it induces sweating, and it also helps vata. But when you have the dry ginger, it is no longer just helping vata. It's not antispasmodic. It doesn't, like uterine cramps, for instance, during menses or abdominal cramps. Then you give the fresh juice. But if you give dry, it will not do anything for muscle spasms. So the quality of dry ginger for antispasmodic will change from fresh to dry. So ginger is basically a rasayana. Do you know about rasayanas? Rasayanas?
I do know what a rasayana is. Do I feel like I should talk about it? I do not.
So Manjulali,
I'm
is
going
the
to be
variant
honest.
different? Like I thought the dry ginger is more heating, whereas the fresh ginger is a little bit cooling. So it
That is true, but the way we use it, it doesn't mean that you cannot give a dry ginger to a vata person, or you cannot give fresh ginger to a kapha person. You can, but the way you mix it and the way you deliver it, pharmacokinetics, the way you deliver it to the body is going to be different. Like I can still give the fresh ginger if I have a uterine cramp or abdomen cramp, or Kaylin has, we both kaphas. We do need that, but if we have the fresh ginger juice, it will actually cause mandagini. It will actually reduce aragni. So we must have it in a kashaya form. We must boil that fresh ginger in water before we can have it. But the dry ginger, we can just have it. Now, if I'm giving you fresh ginger, you can have it. It's okay for you. I mean, like fresh ginger juice. And the dry ginger, you should never have it because it will dry you out even further because you're vata. Then for you, it has to be in, with something that pacifies vata.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, just because I wanted to make sure that I heard it right, because I will a lot of the times in the morning take hot water. I don't necessarily bring it to a boil if I need to drink it fast, and then I'll take a chunk of fresh ginger and a garlic press. Is that not helpful then?
You're not a kapha, it doesn't matter. It's only for a kapha person, it's hard to digest.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, okay.
So for your husband,
No,
I
for
would give
vata,
it.
good.
He's hardly, but I don't even know what his prakriti is because with all the bodybuilding.
Yeah.
But I think he might be kapha.
Yeah.
But,
I think he is.
yeah, so if he's kapha for him, but for you, your pitta vata is fine.
Okay.
Also, all of these are drying. So when we were saying like kapha's wet, these are all going to dry that kapha up. When someone has a wet cough, that mucus and phlegm, this is going to dry it up. Since I didn't mention that, and to talk about a rasayana like a little bit. So rasayanas are something that's like restorative to the body. It's something that is going to rejuvenate the body. Not that I know exactly what all I should put in a rasayana. I just wanted to let them know that.
This is part of their practitioner homework to present, so I didn't ask her to prepare for rasayana.
Which, like, we've done rasayana, and I should be able to talk about because we just did that.
Yes. Yeah. Good job. Can we clap for these two ladies?
Just personal experience, I was just saying what she's saying, drying, and especially in Austin, then that sludge dries up, because it does when you have, like in your sinuses and all, it's difficult to bring it down. So maybe some steaming or something, I don't know if you guys suffer from that.
Yeah.
But from a personal experience, because yes, it does dry, but then it sticks around, so how do you bring it down so you can get it out?
That's a good idea.
Okay. Did we? Okay. This is a trikatu.
No, this is the
Oh, no, this
Vata
is the
churn.
This is the
You want to put the trikatu in there?
You can cut the Vata out.
One thing about ginger, ginger is a natural blood thinner. You know how they take, what is it? I should not say it in recorded. The blood thinner. So I can't, it's live streaming. But it's a natural blood thinner. So, people will also have aspirin a day, which now they're saying you don't have to take an aspirin a day. So you can take ginger a day. It's the same thing. So what aspirin does, ginger does, it's natural. Obviously some people will say they don't need to take the pharmaceutical grade, the drugs, but you would have to take 1 kilo of ginger to get the same effect as that. So it's a natural blood thinner, but you have to take a lot of it. So, but for people who are doing one aspirin a day, they can talk to their doctor about, can I have ginger a day too? And the doctor will usually say yes.
Like in capsule form?
No, just ginger tea. Ginger tea, ginger powder.
Day.
Yeah, take ginger as part of the diet. Drink 2 cups of ginger tea a day. This thins out blood. And not only that, it actually scrapes the ama out, whereas the aspirin doesn't scrape if someone has issues, right?
Monica, the fresh ginger pickle, like just before.
Oh yeah, it's so tasty. Oh my god.
If you chop the ginger pieces, put a little bit of lime juice, not lemon juice, and little rock salt on it, and just have few slices before, half an hour before your meal. It'll help you digest.
I've done that before, and you can actually feel
Yes.
the fire kindle. I mean, you can
You feel
that
those
exactly
hunger.
what
Yeah.
this
Yes.
is such a weird feeling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we never are hungry actually. We put food before
Yeah.
we feel hungry.
Yes, I know.
So,
It's
yeah.
gross. We do.
Both ginger and pipili are rasayanas. So rasayana means one which is good for all the tissues, one ideally is good for all the doshas, and one ideally doesn't have any side effects. Obviously, having said that, everything is in super moderation size. So they're both rasayanas. Rasayana literally translated is a tonic. So you can close your eyes and these are good for it. So both pipili and they are rasayanas. And anything we missed out? I don't think we've missed. Also, pipili is an aphrodisiac. Bring the pipili honey. Like, onion is also an aphrodisiac. Can you imagine? Onion and pipili. Well, so is golden milk, but only chocolate is also an aphrodisiac. Alright, so the last one we are doing, we did dry ginger. Black pepper we are not mentioning. You guys all know black pepper, so we're kind of ignoring it. Sorry, black pepper. Okay, so women support. Shubha ji, you're on. तैयारी की कि मैं बोलूं? She just got back from India. She's jet lagged. So yeah. Okay. You're talking about women support herbs. Do you want? नहीं आपने पित्ता तो बनाया नहीं. Who's going to do pitta? Did anybody talk about cardamom yet?
I could talk about pitta if you need me to.
Yeah. So I will quickly make the. I'm mixing all of this.
Trikatu plus cardamom.
Yeah, आपका चाट मसाला बन गया. Okay, do you guys want to come closer? Now I'm doing it. You're too far off. So let's give it to Debbie. Debbie. Okay. I'm gonna have you do 1 teaspoon of ajwain. Yeah. 1 teaspoon of pomegranate seeds.
And so this is okay if it's not ground?
Yeah.
With a
No,
little
we're
one?
gonna ground it later.
Oh,
A
okay.
different way of making things. And 1 teaspoon of this. Cumin. coriander fennel. One. Fennel. And dry ginger. Is anybody writing that down? I just made it on the spot. Okay. Yeah. So we did one teaspoon of ajwain, anardana, methi, fennel, cumin, coriander, and dry ginger. Okay. Seven. So, koi haldi la do mere ko. We might as well make a powerful formula since we're here.
I'm gonna put some of this one as well.
There's another one. नहीं है कोई बात नहीं.
It's great.
Oh, that's enough. This is half a teaspoon of turmeric only. Not one, but half. Okay. So. Steph, you were doing the women support with Priyanka in class.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember she said a few things were a good source of phytoestrogens? Do you remember anything? Estrogen?
Honestly, I don't, because that was one of the Saturdays.
Oh, you missed that Saturday. Were you there on the Saturday class?
Fennel is this Saturday?
No. What is a good source of, what is a phytoestrogen? What are the good
Fennel.
sources of estrogen and progesterone in foods?
Fennel is good.
And ajwain, soy. What about progesterone? Estrogen are still a lot of people know.
Yeah.
Walnuts, pomegranates.
Oh, okay.
So pomegranates also have estrogen, but they're precursor to estrogen, but they also have the estrones in it. So again, the amount is so small, you'd have to drink 10 liters of, I'm sorry, I do metric system. Don't expect me to do fluid ounces. You guys have to, my practitioner students have to learn metric system or they don't have to be in my program. It's too much for me to learn all the fluid ounces stuff, honestly. The whole world does metric system.
Yes, I know.
That's true. I mean, even the scientific community here, everybody
All
does.
of everybody metric system.
So this is a really, really nice churnam. And this we will give for, I don't even know if your daughters will like it. Now, I will teach you, so these are all about the churnams. So we've made a nice mix. This has, number 1, ajwain in it. Again, one of the things that you will find, most of the spices here, like I said, are Deepa and Pachan. They help in lighting the fire. And also, one of the things they do is they're also good for mild pain. Like we talked about the fresh ginger having like this anti-spasmodic effect. So if you have muscular cramps or uterine cramps during menstrual cycle, then just having, for someone who's in a lot of pain, I'm not talking about that. Who, they're in so much pain, the pain is so sharp, it's like level 8. No, I'm not talking about that kind of pain. I'm talking that there's a more mild pain. Like if you have if you've had a cold or allergies, a little bit of your sinuses are a little stiff, that kind of pain. Not the I need a Tylenol pain. But if someone is taking these herbs or ginger tea regularly, let's say women, they sometimes will have a lot of pain during their menstrual cycle around a lot of cramps, but if they start drinking this regularly, after a few months, the pain will go from maybe 8 to 5. So maybe or if it's 5, it might go to 3. They might not need to have like NSAID, So that's what we mean. We don't mean it's a painkiller. But it is, a word used is Shula Prashman or Vedanasthapan, meaning it helps. Again, most of the pain, so the way the pain is stopped, the way NSAIDs do it, they actually basically tell your brain and it stops the nerves that are causing the pain, right? But that's not how these are. Ginger will actually go and work on the muscles that are spasming. So it's not working at the level of your nervous system. Ajwain is actually working at, ashwagandha will work at the level of for example, some herbs will basically trigger off the parasympathetic nervous response, you know, or, you know, just like when you exercise, you release endorphins, so the pain reduces. So the ginger is helping pain by a different method, by reducing spasms. Ajwain is doing both it's reducing spasm both in the uterus as well as in the abdomen, both by affecting the nervous system as well as your gastrointestinal system and the uterus. So very, very important herb for women's support and also for digestion. Yeah? Should I make it easy? It's we talked about a lot of these herbs actually have this effect where they are vata kapha, so they're bitter, and a lot of them are heating. And whenever you have some heating herb, they'll actually, if they're heating and they're pain relieving. So any kind of allergy, except when there is inflammation, if they have to add something cooling like aloe vera or coconut, all of them, almost all of them can be used in any permutation and combination for phlegm, with the exception of if there is an infection. If there's an infection, so how do we use it? Let's say someone had a respiratory infection. They went to the physician. They got, I don't know, an antibiotic or whatever. But even after the course is done, are they really cured, Debbie? No. There is still a weakness there, right? That's when the Ayurveda herbs can come in and then clear off that extra stuff. That's when you give the pipali and the ginger, and then you can give the ajwain. It clears that kapha in the lungs, the avalamba kapha, the phlegm, right? Also, some of them can be given. I'm not telling you I'm giving you a whole picture because you have, we do this AC 108, so we do like 2 months of just talking about herbs. So we break it down, so I'm trying to give you this. So what we've made here, we've used ajwain. Ajwain is all done. Oh yeah, ajwain is also a diuretic, it'll make you pee. So for a burning micturition, for, when there is a burning sensation when someone is urinating, then also ajwain can be given as well. Right? But because it's heating, I've heard people say there are no contraindications for Ayurvedic herbs. There is. So when you're talking about, let's say, pipali, or you're talking about ajwain, it's so, the effect is all, it's heating you from inside. If someone has acid reflux or high pitta, please don't give them. Do not. Just don't. Right?
Postpartum also is helpful.
Yeah, postpartum, I know people give it postpartum, but you have to mix it with something very cooling. Especially if you have a pitta woman, she's just given birth and she's like, she's like a radiator. You can't give her that. Yeah. Yeah, they're like, they're hot and they yell at you. Yeah. Men won't understand that unless you've given birth. So let's do cardamom. Do you want to talk about cardamom? Okay. So remember, the one of the pitta churna is, so cumin, whenever you want to add something cooling, let's say we talked about all these churnams, just add cardamom to it. Cardamom is cooling. And it also is carminative. It gives a good taste to whatever. It gives a good smell. It's aromatic. Also, like Atul said...
But black cardamom is heating, isn't it?
Oh, no, this is not. It's green cardamom.
Yes, the green cardamom is cooling.
Yeah. So, coffee drinkers, and they refuse to give up their coffee, please don't ask them to have decaf, because decaf is even worse than caffeinated. Better they have small amount of their caffeine, but add cardamom to it, it reduces the caffeine. It's a cheat. Yeah. I always give all my clients a cheat. They'll love it. They love the cheat days. Because if you do not give your client a cheat, you do not give them cheat days, then they're never going to follow things. You have to give them cheats and baby steps. And if your client is already having, nowadays people put the, what do you call it, bullet coffee? Does anybody have that?
Coconut oil in it.
They put coconut oil and they put, what is it doing? Coconut oil is actually decreasing the acid that is building up with the coffee. So just make sure, I had one client who was doing a bullet coffee, but he'd also reduced his, I asked him to put cardamom, and slowly I think last time he was almost down to just one a day.
What happens with tannin? I mean, for the tea drinkers, because they drink
But we already
20
add
cups of
sodium.
tea, but they put the masala.
Yeah. So in India, all the black tea is drunk with these to reduce the tannin and caffeine. So I mean, I drink my black tea in the morning, but it's with all the masalas.
It's actually a mix of black tea and rooibos.
Yeah, I do the black tea and rooibos in the morning. So cardamom is absolutely fantastic. It can be added to anything to make it cooling. I'm gonna do this thing. Anar we have done. Oh, yes, methi is left. Any questions about cardamom? And everybody's had cardamom, right?
So if black is heating, then
Do we have black? No. This is green cardamom.
This is completely
But I'm
different.
saying
It's a different herb. He's talking about different things.
Black
Oh, that's
cardamom
the
is
same thing?
completely different.
Black cardamom is a different herb.
No, the seeds are black inside the pod.
I
The
see.
seeds are black.
This
But
is
the other cardamom
this is the
black.
cardamom.
okay,
This is the cardamom that we are talking about here.
okay, and that's what we want.
The black cardamom is called chota ela, or the little cardamom. Yes,
Okay.
that one is a completely different. It's not even in the. It's like the big sister or the big brother or the daddy.
Pods available in most Indian
Yeah.
grocers, or is it a special order item?
The black one.
The green pod, the whole pods.
I would never buy from an Indian store
Okay.
because when you're buying things that lose their efficacy, you want to get them in packets that have. So we just get we subscribe to the Amazon. I tried getting from Banyan, and once I had an amazing, beautiful, and it smelled amazing. And another time, I think they had it in stock for a long time, so it didn't. So we've just been doing this subscription-based model where it finishes, and cause we are using it every day as part of our daily thing. So cardamom is done.
Yeah, I can't find by the other sheet.
Cardamom is also mutrala. One thing I didn't mention, a lot of these, anything that is aromatic basically. So can you tell me anything that is aromatic in these? Almost everything is aromatic. What are the aromatic and fragrant herbs here?
Cardamom.
Cardamom,
Ginger,
ginger, fennel. Yeah?
cumin.
So anything that is aromatic, so whatever goes in, have you ever had a garlic and then later on when you pass urine, your urine kind of smell garlicky? Why? Because anything that is aromatic, or you had lots of chili, or you had that salsa with lots of chili or whatever.
Or asparagus.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
So things that are aromatic actually pass through either your sweat glands, that's how body gets rid of it, or through your urine. So it's a very simple formula. So that means that cardamom, sandalwood, fresh ginger juice, when you're drinking it, it's getting secreted through the kidneys, it's getting secreted through your urinary channels. So if it's a cooling herb and you have difficulty in urination, or your client, so as it passes through the urinary channels, it's cooling down that area because it's cooling. But if you give coconut water to someone, that is not going to help their burning, micturition, or urination. It has to be something that is aromatic, and that's a natural diuretic that naturally makes you go pee. So that's what helps that burning, micturition. So what I do is when I have a client with urine issues or burning urine or prostate issues or whatever, I will ask them to have cranberry juice with cardamom and sometimes some ginger, and the combination of the aromatic herb, now the herb is getting delivered by the cranberry juice to that area, and it's really taking care of it. It's a beautiful way. I mean, so almost even making like a chaat masala with it that you put in the cranberry juice. Yeah.
So in the cooler months, though, you want to reduce cooling herbs?
No,
If you're, okay.
no. The way if someone has UTI in winter, are you not going to give them cardamom? You are.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, exactly. So just like
But on a daily.
oh no, not on a daily basis. So there are two things in Ayurveda. There is like I said, the diet will be all warming, but once someone has a condition, they're not well, it's only for 3 days or 5 days or 6 days you increase their cooling things. But once they're feeling better, they go back to the heating diet. But the well person diet is where you do the opposite to your dosha. That's your well person diet. But once with the churnams, we're talking about specifically allergies or respiratory issues, or we're going to talk about postpartum in a second. Premature ejaculation we're going to talk about. I get so many men like that. And they never tell me that's what they're coming here to me for. It's always for digestion issues, and always in the 90-minute consultation, 10 minutes before they say, and I also have another problem. I don't know why. It is, they don't talk.
Because we don't want to admit weakness.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Which is like, why are you telling me 10 minutes before you're, about to leave? So, now I've started talking about methi. So methi is this. 3 forms of methi here. Can everybody come and see? This is the last one, and then we're going to start cooking. This is you can just take a little bit and even put it, this tastes like dill a little bit. This is dried methi leaves. So you go to an Indian store, they will not know what fenugreek is. Just ask for methi, right? Indian name for it. Or you could even just smell it. It tastes a little bit like dillish, like potato salad-ish. Yeah. Right? So, a lot of Vata women, as soon as they give birth, they actually have problem making milk. Fenugreek is a natural lactogogue. It not only a postpartum, it's the #1 thing you want to give to but you want to give in all 3 forms. Not just give in a pill. No, we don't do pill. Combination of ajwain. The ajwain helps with all the, especially a woman who's had, even whether it's a natural birth or whatever, the uterus is all over the place, it needs to come back. It tones the uterus, it's a uterus tonic, #1. #2, it increases milk. Now, it also is the way we give it to a kapha woman versus a pitta woman versus a vata will be different, and the doses will be different, but it's given to all women. It's given for diabetes. It actually helps the pancreas. It helps the bladder, diuretic. It also, again, premature ejaculation. All of them it helps in. Oh yeah, and in vata type of pain. So I don't know in which class, which group was talking about different types of pain. Was it Heather?
Yeah, the headaches.
Yeah, the headaches, and I had written that. Yeah, so the pain, so there are 3 types of pain. Every disease in Ayurveda is colored by Vata, Pitta, Kapha, right? So especially Vata kind of, like we said, different, like ginger is antispasmodic. Uterus-related pain, methi. Also, sciatica or nerve-related pain, methi. It has nothing to do with muscles. Only organ it has an affinity to is basically the uterus.
The oxytocin.
Yeah. It has a very similar effect to pyrosin. Exactly.
And the leaf versus the seed.
The leaf is just easy to digest. Basically, they're similar. Methi is hot. So will you not give it to the person? Yes, no?
I think so.
Yes, you will. You just give it with something very cooling. So with pitta, I will give it with aloe juice or coconut juice. How will you give it to a vata? Anybody?
Ghee.
Just water? Or you could, like the dried methi seed, you could make like a potato salad with that and hing.
Laddu.
Yeah. Postpartum, we actually make a candy. Like a candy thing with ghee and honey and all of these things. It's a sweet.
Yeah.
A confectionery
It's
thingy.
a sweet, yeah.
It's a thingy.
Like candy, and people think like hard candy.
Oh no, it's a soft,
Exactly.
chewy,
balls, right?
like balls, laddu
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah.
Yes, the laddu balls.
Does the fresh methi is same properties or no?
There is a little bit of difference, but they all have the same affinity. The karma is the same.
Okay, it can be used also.
Yeah, karma guna remains the same. The delivery is different.
You can make fresh tortilla,
Yeah.
mix it.
Obviously, the fresh leaves are not as potent as the seeds. The seeds are a lot more potent. But the thing is, fresh leaves, I think, do we have fresh methi leaves in the fridge? I've used it up.
I'll check.
We make methi parantha and
Yeah,
we do.
methi paratha.
We like stuff, like a naan bread thing, we stuff methi in it. I'm going to use methi right now and make something. I think that's pretty much we've done. Diabetes support. Methi will help regulate blood sugar, but it doesn't regulate the way like a prescription med does. It's something which is adjunct. Let's say someone is on a prescription med, but their blood sugar is not getting regulated even with that. So adding the methi along with their whatever med is will actually, their medication doesn't have to be increased.
No,
Obviously, the way we advise people to take it is go to your doctor and ask about methi. What will you do? The doctor's like, huh?
Yeah.
What? Methi? What's methi? Okay. Having said that, I actually have one client who's, nowadays physicians know about fenugreek, they know about turmeric, they know about moringa. And they said, oh, my physician gave me moringa. I'm like, yeah? So it's happening. It is happening. So I'm so excited. Right here in Texas, right here in Austin. So you do want to tell them, ask your physician about methi if it's okay. Because especially if someone is like on a prescription med and it's working out for them and they have too much methi and their blood sugar goes down. You don't want that either. So obviously we're talking about someone who's, and it's helpful in both type 1 and type 2.
All three forms?
Seed. Seed is the most potent form.
Okay.
Seed is most potent, and so now
It's very absorbent, isn't it? Isn't that what I've always heard for like stomach aches if there's too much
it is.
water
It's
involved?
yeah. So once you get into herbs, you'll say all of these are really great. And then anardana we talked about. We finished. That's it. Yay!
So maybe, I mean, here we don't get it bitter, but in India, maybe it's a little bitter. So
Okay.
Does anybody want to taste the chavanprash?
I'd love to.
Yeah. I'll have to get spoons. We'll have to wash the spoon. Sorry.
Maybe in India, it's a little bitter.
You have to wash the spoon and then use it later because I don't have enough spoon.
Really? Yeah, no problem.
Still bitter.
I think it is bitter.
Oh, that's too much? I'm sorry. I do
No,
just
is
generous.
it better to put some on bread or something?
Yeah, you want to put it right?
Oh, no, this is
I
fine.
would
It'll
just
save
say
your spoon.
it can be something a little less.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you can make
Yeah.
it make you
Okay,
double.
let me get some.
No,
I'm sorry.
leaves actually, leaves are not as bitter.
Oh, leaves.
Leaves is what I'm talking
Leaves,
about.
yeah.
Little bitter, I always pair
I
it with
find
the
very
tomato
slight
chutney.
bitterness.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
slight.
you're right, right.
I have not had maple leaves in India. Only here.
Never tried this
Maybe
fruit.
I see it in the store, but I've never tried one.
You've never tried, okay.
I was intimidated. Like, what the heck is that?
Sorry, I don't have practice, but I have bunny grams from I think I learned bunny grams. We can work with that.
Jackfruit is very interesting. It's a kind of a latexy fruit. Eating too much can give you indigestion.
And we are taking a 5-minute break also.
Okay, we are taking a 5-minute break. Are we going to get started soon on making lunch things like rice and dal?
Yeah, so while everybody's talking, they can see you make the bhatta rice. We still have a lot to go through.
Yeah, that's a much better.
Yes. Help yourself.
You peel the skin off with the fresh ginger
Pass that on. Thank you, ma'am.
and put fresh lime, not lemon, lemon is like lime is fresh, and then a little bit of.
This is like a overall.
So I want to know when the dragon fruit is ready to cut.
Alright, say the name for me. Chai?
Van Prash.
Prash. Okay.
So basically, there was a sage called Chavana, and some people approached him for anti-aging, and he created this. Prash simply means like mix or jam. He created this jam for, like it's an anti-aging.
You can tell by looking at the outside, and if you can smell also,
Ayurvedic
very
specialist
like you
that
probably smell this as soon as they started cutting it.
He uses it.
It's Chyavanprash is
It has
in
more
our
of a stronger aroma than pineapple, so I think
we all use it.
because it's a very thick skin. The thing is that jackfruit is actually a flower. So this, so the what we call the fruit, this really big thing, that's actually a flower pod. This is the actual flower that you're eating. This is the actual fruit, which is
So
the
the
seed.
problem is,
And I'm throwing these away because I'm lazy and it's a lot of trouble to prepare, but these are really tasty. They're like water
there's
chestnuts.
no,
You can boil them, you can roast them, you can
so
cook them,
anybody can use
and
it.
they're very nutritious.
So with buying
It's,
it, they only use
it's kind of a
organic herbs.
miraculous
And if something is
tree
not developed
because
organic, they won't use it. It's part of
also the
herbs.
fruit is high in protein.
Chyavanprash has only like
But there's a limit. You can't eat, if you eat too much, it's very fibrous and it can give you indigestion. But you can also cook with it. You can cook with it like this when it's not too ripe. But you can also cook when it's green. You can buy the canned green jackfruit. That's easy to find. You can buy that in every Chinese grocery. You can also buy frozen green jackfruit in Indian groceries as well.
That's perfect. It's my jam. So it's cracking. There. Oh, I took a lot. I'm sorry. That's okay.
So, just writing notes on my phone. I'm not
Favorite
texting.
ingredient of
Just
vegan
so you know, I'm
barbecue.
not texting.
Oh yeah. Usually, I think green jackfruit is what they use for that. Green jackfruit is usually better for making savory things, but you can definitely
Yeah,
cook
that's what
this.
I still wanted to try. Like,
Definitely.
Do you want me to,
what is it?
so you're gonna make the date shake with
People,
the,
dry ginger water.
I know it's an ice
are you gonna make date shake with all
Black pepper
foods or with the?
I would love to if I can, yes.
I don't know if it's soaked enough.
I think they're soaked enough, they don't have to be soaked that much.
Okay.
So when should I start?
Now? That's big. Thank you for cutting this up.
Three
Fine.
fruits.
Alright, well, and I'm gonna do date shake and then I can start the bakta rice and do the dal chunk. Okay.
By the way, I have some books here. Usually they're the books that are part of the yeah.
I could probably eat.
It's very addictive, yeah.
This is so good. Yeah, I had never had this either.
Oh, really? Okay, well, here you go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah?
No, because I made it to Kerala. They had jackfruit galore over there.
Oh, yeah. Well, it grows on trees.
And it's so lush over there, it's beautiful.
People have suggested that jackfruit is a good solution for nutrition issues in developing countries and third world countries because it grows just about everywhere that's tropical and it's, you know, it's very low maintenance and, you know, it's relatively easy to harvest and you get a lot of nutrition out of a single jackfruit.
One tree can give abundance, I mean, it's
Yeah.
loaded with it.
Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah, there's my cardamom bag. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay.
What's there a good restroom to use?
Right there. Yeah, that door right there.
That's what I do for, so what I do with the clients is I will bookmark something, I will write it on, oh yeah. And I have to show you what I
All right.
then I write it on it, it's very easy to connect with whatever I'm doing.
So Rajasthan.
Oh,
sorry.
These are like, Jaipur. Jaipur.
For easy 1 or 2, this is
Okay.
oh yeah, you guys would also.
That was delicious. Delicious. Your chaat masala is fabulous.
Now, I used the chunky chaat masala on those. I didn't have enough of the one I made. Plus the, it has
I have never used it on
I actually made a special Ekadashi chaat masala without the hing. And that's the one I had made. But the chunky chaat masala also has the hing. So.
Delicious. Delicious.
This is the book that Ayurvedic doctors are most
How long y'all been in Austin?
It's about 3.5 years now.
Yeah, you like it here?
We like it. Some things have been, you know, it's been a little different. I think the education options are good here. Schools are good. Our older son goes to Lhasa. You know, that's nice. There were no magnet schools and the schools where we were in California were not that
right.
good.
Y'all are in San Diego?
We were in North County, San Diego, so it wasn't the best part of San Diego County, and yeah, the schools weren't that great. But yeah, I mean, it's you know, everything. There's always pluses and minuses, but
Yeah.
you know, Austin's a nice place. I was able to find work in software engineering here
Okay. Cool.
because that's my day job.
Okay. Yeah. How old are your kids?
14 and one's almost 6.
Okay. How did you end up in India when you were younger?
Well, I actually wasn't in India. I lived in ashrams in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
So I've been lived in many different states, and New York City, and that's actually where when I learned to cook, I was living in a building in Manhattan that was had been converted into a monastery, but that was back in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay. Was it Krishna consciousness?
Yeah, it was the Hare Krishna temple up near Columbus Circle, the old one on West 55th Street.
Okay.
That was, I think they sold that building in 1980 or something. But yeah, so I've spent a lot of time there. We had a big industrial kitchen, so learning to scale things down to human size cooking, normal human size cooking was a transition for me.
Really? That's interesting. Yeah. Because that's like all I kind of know how to do right now. It's like I wonder how to go other way to the large scale.
Yeah. No, we had large steam vats, so when we would make a vegetable, there would be a stainless steel vat that had a steam jacket around it, and we had two 40-gallon steam vats that we would use for making vegetables in, and big candy stoves, and I had a griddle this big that I would make roti on, stuff like that. Interesting life experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
But that was where I was exposed to the idea, because everything, when I learned about cooking, it was all about there's certain spices you use with certain vegetables. There's some vegetables you wouldn't combine together because it would be rasa-viruddha, and so forth.
And that's like part of the Ayurvedic knowledge, right?
Yeah, that is all. So traditional Indian cooking goes back before the Mughal period. When people talk about Indian food, they're mostly nowadays, it's really the Mughal. So from the time of the invasion of Persian and Afghan invaders into India, that's when you get all the things that are made with cream and cashew paste and so forth. It's not really terribly healthy food.
Yeah.
It's tasty.
I mean, I wonder about that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really more traditional Indian food is more like the South Indian cuisine. So things like dosa, idli, sambar, these are much more kind of to the heart of Indian cuisine. There's a restaurant in New Delhi called Satvik. If you ever visit Delhi, I would highly recommend visiting there, because they built up their menu taking all the best regional cuisine from all over India. Things that I had never had before.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of areas, and it's a 100% vegetarian. And there were things that I had never had before, which is saying a lot, because I've tried to learn as much as I can about every vegetarian cuisine in India, but that's a interesting place, because they have things from all over India.
Yeah, no, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I guess
I've
I'm
been
just
out of
waiting
work,
for
or
people
I've
to
been taking a
filter
break
back
from
in
work
here.
for the last few months. I'm a nurse practitioner professionally, but just taking it easy, taking care of myself a little bit more.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Where do
and
you?
hopefully incorporating this professionally.
Yeah, for sure.
I am doing the handshake, and then I'm going to start the puncture ice, and then I will do the doll.
Where are the dates?
I have them already. I am just waiting for people to come back in here. I already have them. I already have them washed. And while I'm waiting, I'm just getting out other ingredients. Yes.
Maybe back up there and out. Kind of got to the point where I was ready to.
Did you
Oh.
bring it out?
Yeah.
Your message nowadays?
No, I had to buy it. Because I knew India for 7
Yeah,
days.
we're settled.
I
I'm
got it
settled
from
here. I mean,
Natraj
sometimes
house for $180.
I'm surprised how much
Maybe
it-
also
Break is almost done.
Maybe and Gulu reduces
pretty fast.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Everybody always likes to talk about the drive to
Yeah.
sell.
It
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Gulu.
Well, that's cool. You'll get to hopefully incorporate some variety
So maybe
into that area.
Gulu specifically
When I
reduces
was a
the
daughter,
cholesterol in the body. You have to
well,
get like if you
like
get
so much of that going on in Austin. Probably in Dallas too. It was like Fort Worth seems to be, it's like it's lasting for a little bit.
Right.
then just
I don't know.
maybe
See what
with coconut.
Yeah, that's exciting.
hoping to like go on
Yeah,
the
then I,
practitioner
yeah.
course. Like,
You
if
want to
it's
probably,
like,
depends on how high the number is.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Because
hoping.
if it's pretty high, then you also want to move front.
Yeah.
And if it's not that high, then it's getting better.
Are you gonna be in town all weekend then, or are you gonna do next week?
And back from mom, staying
I
with my
know
parents
stuff
tonight,
from
and do the
Portugal.
class before I go
Depends
home.
on I don't mind like
I was like, yeah, the class starts too early. I need to leave in the morning, so
So I have
here for 2 hours.
Yeah. I know, I usually wake up early in the morning.
like for I tell kids
Yeah.
I gotta hurry.
support from
Well,
college.
yeah,
And I might ask them to take, like they also have high blood
Yeah.
pressure. I want to
really
see what they take.
But
And if they are on
yeah,
some
West
drugs
Coast and then
that
like Canada.
they don't want to take
Yeah.
anything,
yeah,
then they
yeah,
please.
she's in Canada.
This, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I say so good. अरे के साथ अनुपात के बिना
I'm not sure about that. Maybe I went wrong, but
either soak करके like there was one client I had, she had diabetes, she had high cholesterol, and she had high blood pressure. And in her intake form, I said, "What's your diet?" She
you know, I
did.
like the class
She
and like
wrote
the format.
CRAB. That's it.
Watching
Morning.
the
It
slides.
was
and
like
everything,
literally
you
she
know,
was
it's, you know,
having
put
snacks
it next
and
to it.
sausages,
Yeah,
and she
doing
knew
this
she
like
was doing
hands-on
it.
is
So she loved making something. So she was adding in. She liked it. So she was adding baby to her PFC bar. Then she started sprouting methi, methi and moonga sprout, making the chart. She lost 50 kilos. 50 kilos. So then I told her she has to now tell me how she did it. 2
Follow
saal
the
50
vegetarian
pounds.
for a really long time.
But like there's different ways they can use
She
it.
had,
It's not just one set, but
Maybe sprouts.
oh my gosh,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like night.
It kind
And
of
in the morning
changed the
she
way
brings that.
Yeah, that's how I
we were
roll.
eating. We were like, we just had it. Yeah, just whatever. We're eating a lot, especially in the dairy.
Soak it in water.
I asked what auto
You have to soak it in like capsule with the and you just
Yeah, she's
because
just
the husband's not going to do
excited.
this.
Grind it fresh.
Yeah, no, you can just buy videos like fast. He's not going to eat it like that.
No, no, you make fresh
It's just
starting
hard.
from seeds.
It's
or
like,
you
Yeah, yeah.
symptoms are get, like progressing. You know, getting worse. So she wanted to try like,
How many
third
One
she
day.
cut a lot of things out of there, like fries, and so that
Prabhuji,
kept the cook
you
off.
want to make him
So we get started? Okay, great.
Yeah,
So,
You start
all right. So, I'm going to talk now, and we're going to make a Ojas building date shake. So, yeah, and let's see, we're going to have dates, almonds, and a little bit of cardamom and cinnamon. And I'm going to use soy milk, but it could also be done with almond milk, obviously. Almonds are very good for ojas building. Now, what are some cases where you might want to build ojas? First of all, you have to balance the idea of ojas along with a person's ability to digest, because ojas building things are sometimes can be a little hard to digest. Pitta persons typically can consume ojas building things fairly easily. If other people may have different levels of difficulty. One case where ojas building might be useful is if there's a couple who is trying to conceive. And the guy might want to take some things to build ojas because that will help increase shukra dhatu, and that can help boost sperm count, and that can be a major factor in fertility. Of course, we can't tell people that because that would put us in the doctor forbidden territory. But this is part of what we do in Ayurveda. It's ojas building, okay? So we stick with that. So what I have here is I have some dates. I've washed these dates. These are just plain old bulk dates that I got from the Indian grocery store. I'm going to add a little bit of some cinnamon chips. I'm just a little bit, because this helps. The dates are a little heavy, the almonds are a little heavy, and this will also help with the digestion in processing. Smoothies are really, I've had so many battles with, people who do smoothies and say, look, could I just get the smoothie without ice? And I remember there was some stoner dude in Maui, and I was asking, can we get a smoothie without? You can't make a smoothie without ice. No, dude, look, I don't care if it's less. I just don't want it without the ice. You can't make a smoothie without ice. Oh, forget it. I'm going away from here. But the fact is, you don't really need it. You can add your soy milk, your almond milk, and you can add a little bit of warm water instead of ice, because you don't need that. We can't say it too many times. People go with too much ice. They'll even do it in the winter. Summertime, yeah, okay, it's 105 degrees outside. Yeah, I'll have some water with ice in it. I'll have some water, maybe some rose sharbat in it, and ice. We actually don't want this to be a cooling thing. We want it to be, to have a little bit of warmth boosting. So I'm just adding a tiny amount of green cardamom. So I'm busting the husks off, and then I'm going to grind up the seeds and toss them in there. And we've been through different blenders. We like the Blend Tech. It was worth it, not cheap, but it's held up. We've had it for what, 8 years, 10 years now?
No.
Something like that, a long time. All right, so I've got those things in here, and I am going to add almonds, which have been soaked. Soaking is always a good thing. Soaking helps to, bring out the ojas contributing properties of the almonds. It's also true of beans. If you want to reduce vata in dal, for example, it's always good to soak. Okay, so what am I missing here? I just need to add this. Soy milk. You could use soy milk, oat milk, almond milk. Regular dairy milk is sometimes not going to be the best thing with some things, and especially if you added, say, for example, banana in here. You don't want to mix banana and milk, dairy milk, because the vibhak of banana is sour.
Vibhak means aftertaste.
The aftertaste. I'm going to also add a little bit of warm water to this. So I have some water in here that's actually just a little warm or even a little hot. Otherwise, this is too thick once we blend up the dates. All right, and now I'm going to fire this up. It's going to get really noisy here for a little bit, so you're not going to hear me. just blending it at top speed and letting it go until the end of the cycle. And if you can hear me, you have really good ears because this thing is noisy. But I have to do something other than just sit here with my hand on top of the blender jar. You can see that this is getting very thick inside there because, you know, that's what happens. The dates blend up. It makes a very thick thing. So the water we added was actually needed just to have a consistency where you don't have to eat with a spoon like a pudding. All right. And there we go. So, shall we do some cups or something?
Cups. I got these sample cups.
So, let's see. We could zoom in on this a little bit. Where's my zoomer? The remote I put here.
Here you go.
Okay. Yeah, this actually came out really thick. Between soaked almonds and dates, yeah.
Any particular proportion, I mean, right now it's like 1-on-1 dates and almonds?
Yeah, just a handful and handful.
Asking for recipe
One
is
example of a person, we did this for one person who was female, very elderly in her 70s, and extremely vata, and you know, like one of these people who's like a sadhvi, a very saintly person who just keeps her life energy going through sheer willpower, and so we, had her having this this warm ojas building shake along with some other herbs.
So basically, when someone is in their 70s or 80s or anyone when vata age where they cannot digest anything, or even you want to get someone off smoothies, this is your Ayurvedic smoothie.
Can you share the ingredients once more, like what all did you put?
So basically we had about, maybe this much almonds soaked, and
This is about one cup almond soap.
This container full, about 1.5 cups of dates, just washed, and then about maybe this much full of soy milk, and then maybe half that full of warm water. And I added about 4 pods of green cardamom, and about maybe half a teaspoon of cinnamon chips.
We have the recipe written down for sure.
Yeah.
Put it
So
up
it's very, very simple. And when people like, because smoothies are kind of like a death blow to your digestive system. It's kind of, and sometimes people have this silly idea about, well, wow, drinking ice water is good because it kills your digestion. No, we don't want to kill your digestion. We just want to not, try to eat less and have things that are easy to digest. And we want your digestive system to work. The times when you might want to is if you were having, very acute digestion. If you had, Tikshnagni, and you were getting stomach pain and heartburn and things like that, then room temperature water will do it. You don't need ice water, and certainly don't need iced smoothies. All right, so now we're going to go on to bhakti rice. So there you go. There is an Ayurvedic smoothie, an ojas building smoothie, and it's room temperature. So, and it's also a cop-out, making everything really chilled. When things are chilled, they always taste better because it sort of deadens your taste buds a little bit, and it's just, you can have something that doesn't taste that great warm or room temp, and it tastes better cold. But, that's kind of cheating. So this is a healthy thing to have. So let's do bhakti rice.
So good. It's like a dessert.
Yeah. So, let's see. I'm going to shift over here. So, there's a very useful piece of equipment, which is the rice cooker. Where is that thing? All right, I'm going to shift it over here just a little bit. So, we have this. It's a combination rice cooker, pressure cooker, multi-purpose thing, right? You'd also just have a regular rice cooker. There's a really important thing, a really important little, secret, if you want to call it. You can get any consistency of rice out of this. Usually why rice cookers are useful, it's fire and forget. You could go off to working in the garden or go to a job an hour away or whatever, and you could set it up in the morning for a delay timer, and you can have fresh, hot, freshly cooked rice when you get home. That's a handy thing, right? What many people don't know is you can completely change the consistency of the rice based on how much water you add. So they'll say, here's a recipe for cooking rice. First of all, a lot of those recipes are just wrong, and they don't really give you satisfactory results. Adding a little more water will get you softer rice. Now, bhakta rice is a thing that it's when the rice is more cooked, so the rice is very soft, that's the bhakta rice. It will tend to stick together a little bit. It'll tend to be a little clumpy. That's okay. It's meant to be a soft rice. Traditionally, the way rice is cooked in India, it's cooked very soft, it's boiled, and then people scoop the boiled rice out of the water, and the grains have fully gotten fat and split open, and they're very, very soft grains of rice, and then people will add salt separately. That's how rice is usually made in India. We tend to use the one-pot method, and just adjusting the amount of water you use can completely change it, and it can make a rice that is more soft. I don't know how many times I've gone into a place and I'll always ask for the brown rice, and brown rice is the number one thing that nobody gets right, because when I cook brown rice, for 1 cup of brown rice, I will use 4 or 4.5 cups of water. Okay? And I've seen places where I think they only use 2.5 cups or even 2. And it comes out hard and chewy, and that's not good. That's not easy to digest. If you just try this sometime, and we're not doing brown rice today because it does take longer. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour to cook. We're going to make basmati rice, so it's going to be very quick. But the amount of water is totally critical. So if you're making brown rice, just remember this: 1 cup brown rice, 4 cups of water. And then add a little salt, add some ghee or olive oil or whatever you're using, and you're good to go.
So this one has something that you can say brown rice on it?
Absolutely, yes. So this has a setting for rice, and it also has a setting for multigrain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the brown rice setting. So I'm just measuring out the rice. I'm making a decent amount here. 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups. And for this, to make bhakta rice, I would normally use 8 cups of water. I'm going to instead use 10 cups of water. That's going to make the soft bhakta rice. And it is going to come out just a little bit mushy. So I always rinse the rice. Modern rice processing in India has improved, but it's still good to wash it thoroughly. Always like to get enough water in there so that I can see anything that floats up. And pour off some of that water and whatever has floated up. There is even a There's even a logic in Nyaya called the Vrishchika Tandula Nyaya. Vrishchika is scorpion, so it's the logic of scorpions coming from rice. And that's because rice that is processed in villages in India, sometimes scorpions will go and lay their eggs in the rice. And then people see scorpions coming out of the rice. That's because scorpions laid their eggs in the rice before it was processed. Modern processing is generally going to be clean, but it's always good to rinse your rice beforehand. Anyway, but getting back to Nyaya, the logic of scorpions from rice is a logic that is used to apply when there's something that appears to have no cause. It simply means that we haven't actually understood the cause because the cause is somewhat hidden. And that's a little example of Nyaya. Yes, Vrishchika Tandula Nyaya. Of course you knew this.
I did not know this. What is Vrishchika Tandula Nyaya?
Vrishchika Tandula Nyaya is the logic of scorpions from rice. So when you see scorpions coming from rice, it means that scorpions have laid eggs in the rice and they have hatched. But someone who sees that thinks, oh, look, scorpions come from rice. Oh, all right, I need to count. This is number 3.
So there is a book called Bhava Prakash. It's part of the other. So you have the big 3 books, and you have the 3 secondary books of Ayurveda. One of them is called Bhava Prakash. It gives recipes, like khichdi is one of the recipes. And it gives, and we're deliberately not doing khichdi today because it's actually, when you give homework to your clients, it'll be harder for them to make khichdi. But if they do moong dal and bhakta rice and mix them together, it becomes a khichdi. It's the same. Plus then they have variety. And, they can use the soup next day by itself, add some, otherwise you're just stuck with like mono diet.
More khichdi.
Yeah.
I'm actually backing off. I'm only going to use 9 cups of water, not 4 cups of rice.
So it's basically not going to be like rice. It's more like a mushy, like baby food. Yeah, and the idea is that someone's digestion is so bad that they can't digest anything. Like post-surgery, the stuff that, like the hospital will give you, I don't even know.
Soft white foods. Like real simple.
Oh, they give you
Salads. I got
They give you salad.
Orange juice.
Orange juice. They
They
have
stopped
the
having babies.
yeah.
So I added 1 tablespoon of salt to a little bit less than 1 teaspoon of salt per cup. I'm going to use a little bit of ghee. So
बनाते हैं पर ये अच्छा है.
just a small amount.
जो घर पे बनाते हैं वो सारा यूज हो गया. वो शाम वाले लड्डू बना के दिए. और उनका जो घी है वो ahimsa ghee comes from the cows in the farm up in Northeast. There are only 2 cows. So there's how much milk and ghee can come out of that.
Okay, and that's it basically. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm according to the recommendation for this thing, and this is closed. I'm going to put the rice setting. I usually add 1 minute to the cook time, and then I start. And I just figured that adding 1 minute from trial and error. Some rice cookers are automatic, and when they detect a change in the weight of the pot, they shut off, and you just have to get used to each rice cooker. This was, I think, it was a $50 thing. I think we got it at Walmart. Not a particularly super expensive, fancy, not like one of the Zojirushi things or something. Japanese rice cookers, I haven't actually tried them, but they're very specific because, Japanese people are really specific about how they like rice and, having sticky rice and so forth. All you need really is just a basic rice cooker. So this pressure cooker thing is also useful for other things as well. This is pretty much a fire and forget operation. There's nothing else I need to do until this is done. And it'll take about half an hour for it to heat up, and then it's going to start hissing and cooking, and then it'll be done.
And while that is happening, you want to do dosa, or you want to do?
I was thinking I could do the dal, or I could do the dosa.
Let's do the dosa. Or you want to? Should I take over and make a besan chilla while you're getting ready for the dosa?
I am ready for the dosa.
Then you do the dosa first.
I am so ready for the dosa. Okay, let me get the rest of this.
I don't care what you do.
Let me get the rest of the Abhishek Bachchan out of the thing. Here we go.
Abhishek
fortune.
Yes. All right.
The only recipe we don't have is the chai. वो chai we write down. Everything else is there. The bhatta rice recipe is from Bhava Prakash. And the date recipe,
Yeah.
this we
So
have.
the Bhava Prakash recipe for the bhakti rice specifically is the traditional Indian method of boiling, and we are just adapting it to make it a little easier because you need actually a pretty big pot with a lot of water. Rice absorbs so much water; it is so much easier to use a rice cooker. I mean, you know, in particular, when people say, "Yeah, I don't have time to cook," well, if you use a rice cooker and you cook moong dal, you can literally make your dinner. If you put 5 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes when you get home, you can have your whole, you know, you can have the rice and dal part of a dinner done and cook some vegetables quickly. It's all about just practice and getting used to it and making
Prabhuji,
it.
you're still, while you are doing it, I can show the besan chalna. I'll be that quick.
Yes.
Yes, I'll be
So
ready.
I'm done.
It'll take you 2 minutes to do the.
Manjula, should I turn the camera to you?
Oh, no, sure.
So shall we make a? Have you heard of garbanzo bean, the vegan omelette? Hey, hello Manjulali.
And you know, nowadays when they say pea protein, it usually means garbanzo beans.
It's too close. That thing disappeared. The
What thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. The remote disappeared. Does everybody know that pea protein usually means chickpeas, garbanzo beans?
I didn't know.
Yep. Which they're, you know, they're great. They're amazing.
Does everybody know what black salt is? इसको कोई खोल दो भाई. So, has anyone eaten garbanzo bean pancake before? No. Oh, you have? You make it?
Sometimes.
Okay. How do you do it? I mean,
Follow whichever recipe Google puts on top when I
okay.
Google it.
I have never used a recipe. That's why I could never write it before, because there's no recipe. It just, everything is different. But anyway, basically it's garbanzo beans. I use something called black salt powder. It is not the, so vegan people sometimes will use the black salt powder because it tastes a little bit like egg. Has everybody had black salt? No.
If you had some of the pears with chaat, that chaat masala has black salt in it. So you taste a little bit of a sulfury taste. That's black salt. Black salt is a mix of sodium chloride, which is salt,
Yes, it is.
plus
Not maple.
it's a naturally occurring salt that's found in volcanic areas. So it's one of the sulfides.
It's
I
very
forget
potent.
which-
Just have
one of the
tiny bit.
non-poisonous sulfide, but it's yes.
Just like the yolk.
It's like a hard-boiled egg.
Yeah, no, it tastes like egg.
Yeah, that's exactly what
So
Yeah. Or if you've ever visited the sulfur spring, when I was a kid, we went to this
Yeah.
place in West Virginia where there was a sulfur spring and the water.
I don't even use the normal salt. I put it in everything. Me and Dr. Aparna, we're crazy about this. Kala namak.
I also use it. I'm not as crazy as she is.
Oh my god, I
But
love
I use
this.
it in moderation, which is, I think, the way most people use
Yeah,
it.
yes, that's how I do it. Remember that thing that we had made remember the churnam we had made for the women?
Yes.
Like for menstrual cramps and precursor to estrogen, all of that, the women, I'm putting that whole women thing in here. Water. That's it. Actually, let me add. Can you give me the methi?
Want this one? This one back?
Yeah, for myself, I'll add usually, personally, I'll add chili, garlic, onion, all pungent stuff, but since you'll be tasting it, I won't do that. So I've just made a little paste, just like pancake. You can come near, you know. Can you come near and see? Just water. Just garbanzo bean, water, and the women mix and then that's it. And it's black.
Oh, no, she uses like chilla
It's garbanzo powder.
with adding the.
Do you make the garbanzo powder?
It
Do you make the
is
garbanzo
like,
powder?
but yeah, but she will cook it in the like flat chilla.
So no baking.
We had some leftover pakora mix because I always make pakora mix and then mix it as I need. And we had some leftover and I cooked it on the griddle. With
You need a sponge.
flour, so not too much oil is very good.
This is called thali feet, Marathi.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Thali
Philippine.
Thali feet.
Acha.
Oh yeah, that like
Oh,
standard
okay.
stuff.
This is my everyday breakfast, by the way.
And then you can add whatever it is. Add
Oh, by the way, I also do cheats, like I'll take habanero salsa or something and add it to it. Kapha person.
Can I take a picture?
Yeah.
So making this for a vata, just adding warming spices?
No, for the vata churnam for the vata person.
Okay, yeah.
And
so
for
just
vata, make it in a ghee.
Okay.
For pitta, make it in ghee or coconut oil.
Okay.
And for kapha, I have used the least amount of olive oil, and the only reason I'm using the olive is because this is not non-stick.
Oh,
If it was non-stick, I would not use anything like.
Yeah.
Really.
Even sesame oil can be used for kapha or no?
No, never. Never use sesame to kapha. If you give sesame to kapha, they'll fall asleep for 14 hours.
It's not heating, but I thought sesame.
It is, but it's unctuous. And the
Okay.
quality of kapha is unctuous, and the quality of sesame is unctuous. The only time you want to give it to kapha person is if they have a vata type cold for like 1 day.
Oh. So what
Completely.
oil should kapha
But
use?
sesame seeds you can give. to
No, but
kapha.
what oil for kapha then?
The sunflower is
Sunflower
bitter.
is good.
Olive is bitter. Olive or sunflower. Yep, this is happening. I'm done.
Okay.
When it's done, then I'll share it. See how quick was I? How quick was I?
I have been waiting.
So you put the
I am very, very patient. I may not have as many patience as you.
But you know, he's the cook. I cook, but I cook for 4 people. नहीं पतला बनाते हैं ना अभी तो टाइम नहीं था I think the thali peat is patla ना
yeah, I mean you can make it whatever it's yeah. It's,
yeah no this one's on मेरा Punjabi style not patla does anybody make cassava tortillas do you know what cassava is you started making it
I started after.
yeah does do you guys make cassava tortillas do you know what cassava is
I'm no, I've heard of it, but I've never used it with anything.
you guys want to come closer so this is cassava rice.
Okay.
It's anybody who's trying to do gluten-free or has a lot of allergies or grain-free or inflammation. You want to give them root or vata person who wants to. Any root vegetable will help ground vata. So, you know tapioca starch, right? Tapioca that comes from this. Yeah. So, cassava is you dry it and the ground powder of this root is cassava. Then if you filter cassava more, you get tapioca starch. Now tapioca, everything good and all the fiber has been stripped off. This is with the fiber because you need the fiber. Are you done, Prabhuji?
I am waiting.
I started making tortilla so
he's making his thing, I'm gonna get ready with my cassava.
So, Manjali, what is the powder called?
Cassava root powder?
It's just cassava root powder.
Yeah, just from like this is from Sprouts. Coriander, fennel, cumin, ginger, black pepper,
You have to be very careful in rolling.
meaty.
थोड़ा powder लगा के रोला करिए.
So this is how I'm doing my.
Breaks all around.
मेरा tortilla देखो ना.
That's how I'm asking whether you do.
Sabuji, see, I'm putting all my masalas.
Okay.
Do the thingy.
And you added for basil to
Nothing,
it?
nothing.
Just cassava.
This is just cassava.
Can you roll it or no?
No, I will show you how I do. This is just cassava, nothing else. And I'm sorry.
I had
Because I don't
quinoa flour and
No, nothing.
oat flour
You
and
can actually-
almond flour. Yeah.
Then it's not
Almond flour. Yeah.
I'm just doing cassava. I'm
It
gonna add my
smells so good while I make it. This one, I want to try this too.
Okay, this is gonna be kapha friendly.
Oh, you're adding chili to it.
Actually, I can just add cayenne pepper and save the chilies. What happened there? You making it now? I'm here.
No, I am still waiting for
I'm
you.
done.
I can begin now? Okay. You are done there.
I'm done.
Okay.
You too, moving again.
All right. So, now, one of the things, very important thing, we have 2 YouTube videos about making mung dosa, okay? Making dosa is one of the simplest things, and it can also be very tricky. So, I want to do the, hands-on demonstration and show you everything. First of all, 2 days ago, I took 2 cups of yellow split mung and 3 cups of an organically sourced yellow split mung, which I could get at the Indian grocery, and 3 cups of organic idli rice. Now I'm going to show you a bag of idli rice, so you know what I'm talking about. Idli rice is used in South Indian cooking for making idli and dosa. It's So this is idli rice. So if you look at it, you can see that the grains are very small. It's a very short grain, somewhat sticky rice. Okay, and here I'll hold it up here. So this is idli rice. Okay, very small grains. I soaked it, and it also began a natural fermentation process. It's not as fermented as I would like. You can see there's a little bit of foam there. That's part of the natural fermentation process. Here, I'll hold it up to the camera. And you can smell a little bit. It's starting to get a little tiny bit of a sour fermented smell. That's a very important part of it. So this is 100% natural. Because it's very cold weather right now, that's why we don't have as much fermentation as we'd like, but something. So I'm saving the water. I'm not getting rid of the water. I actually want this fermented water. The fermentation is not like a wine fermentation. It's kind of a natural process like fermenting yogurt. It helps also if you have previously made dosa batter before in the same container. So we're going to blend this up in batches. And I have, did I take my ladle outside? Where's my ladle? I have a ladle here that I use for this.
khichdi. This is the one question that everybody asks me. Can you give me something which is not khichdi 3 times a day? So this is an option because it's still made of rice and mung, and it's a crepe, and it just gives another option. This is a little harder to make though.
Where did my flat ladle go? I had a shallow ladle.
Oh, everything is there behind you. Lovely. There.
No, I had it sitting on top of this.
That one? Like this? This?
The spatula? No, a ladle.
I haven't seen it. This?
No, a flat ladle, which I'm going to need. All right. All right. I'll have to use something else to scoop that up.
You can scoop with this.
No, I need everything. Okay, so I'm going to do this in small, basically 2 batches. So I'm taking this mix of the soaked, slightly fermented rice and yellow split mung. So some of the benefits of this dosa. Now you can go to a lot of Indian restaurants and you can get dosa that is made with idli rice and urad dal. And it's very tasty. It gives a more reddish brown color. It's slightly easier to cook than these moong dal dosas, but they are not great for kapha persons. It's very high in protein. Moong dal is also very high in protein, but it's also much easier to digest. Yellow split moong dal is tridoshik. So it's good for people who are kapha, pitta, vata. Everybody. Moong dal is fantastic stuff. So this is one of the easiest things to digest. It's relatively easy to make. You just have to get used to the trick of cooking it. All right, and this is going to get noisy. You really want this to be blended up so that it has a creamy consistency. Okay, so that's half of it. You can see the consistency. It's got a creamy consistency, kind of like a milkshake. It's actually going to thicken and it sits in the refrigerator. We can keep this in the refrigerator for about 2 weeks. And then, so basically, you can do this on the weekend, and then during the week you can do South Indian style fast food and make dosa, and have dosa with a stew or a dal or a vegetable, and it's something different every day, and it's really healthy and it's really easy to make. Now I'm going to go ahead and blend up this second batch.
So when you're doing the khichdi, would you want to soak the mung and the rice for 2 days too and that ferment?
No, you don't have to soak. Wait. You don't have to soak for khichdi, you only have to just soak overnight. The fermenting part is because we are actually making a crepe. We're going to do it directly on the, tiny bit less water there. We're going to do it directly on the griddle, and there's no leavening at all. So what you see here is what you get. The only other thing we're going to add is we're going to add a little bit of salt. That's it. So, total of 5 cups of grains. The 3 cups of idli rice and 2 cups of mung dal equals 5 teaspoons of salt. That's a simple formula. Remember how I told you that I learned to cook and the guy told me just enough and not too much? Well, the one thing that I learned you always have to measure is salt. So it really is good to know your proportions and use salt just right, because you know, salt is a taste enabler. It helps us be able to taste things, and good taste also leads to good digestion. Too much salt, when things taste salty, it's not good. We all know that. I'm going to rinse this out, and then we'll put this back in here after we've mixed in the salt. This is it's a very handy container. It's just the right size for soaking everything and then keeping all the mixed up batter. So it's going to get noisy again for just a minute. While we're doing that, I'm going to measure out the 5 teaspoons of salt into this, and I'm not going to try to shout that again. So I'm going to let this run, and I'm going to do that, okay? Okay, and that's it. We now have dosa batter. It is ready to cook. I've got a griddle outside that I've been heating up. For cooking, the best thing that I can recommend, so we have one video which is just about making the dosa batter. Because, yes, you can buy ready-made dosa batter from the Indian grocery. But you have to add water. You have to get the consistency right. And it's going to be using urad dal. Okay? It's going to be using urad dal.
The pre-made ones at the Indian market?
Yes, always. You will not find mung dosa. This is an Ayurvedic thing, you know, where we say the mung dosa is going to be the more traditional because the urad dosa is not cup
Did you get some?
It's very earthy, right?
Yeah, oh, it's very high in protein and it's very tasty.
You had to drink water? But that was like me, you know. So it's a women's support thing. The only thing that is not okay was the chili powder that I put because I was going to have.
You have something smoking there.
And tasty, very tasty.
Okay. Now I'm just going to get my ladle. I think I must have put it out here.
इसकी बात कर रही थी मैं मेकड़ा भी आपका अच्छा है but ये this is very filling and completely grainy नहीं है ये ऐसे बनता चाय के साथ फिर ब्रेकफास्ट में ले जाओ लंच में उसमें भी आप ये सब्जी
Okay, so I don't think it's too windy outside for me to use the griddle. It's not heating up because of the wind. It's too windy outside. Are you done soon? No, I'm using the griddle.
Oh, here's the springs and Mesa area, like northwest.
So I'm just mixing that salt into here, and then this is ready to go. I'm going to just show you the consistency. This is actually, it looks a bit thin. It's going to get thicker as it sits in the refrigerator. Also, some of the rice is not 100% broken up. It's going to soak up more water. But this is actually a good consistency for a dosa batter.
Okay.
When you buy ready-made dosa batter, it's always going to be thicker than this. Yeah.
So when it thickens, do you need to add more water, or you just?
You want it to have a consistency close to this.
Okay.
This is actually just a tiny bit on the thin side. We wouldn't want it to be any thinner than this. And so I'm going to shift this over here.
Anyone else? Same.
Vegan?
This is very good. Yeah.
That's so good.
That's good for breakfast. I'm just going to have a snack. Bunny banana.
Yeah, I know.
I never buy anything for myself. I end up having a snack.
That's what we were just talking about.
Literally just saying,
Oh my
oh,
God.
I want some food, and it's not.
Yeah, like
My friend, or a good friend, or her husband's from.
actually, I should take something for him. He has a flu kind of thing.
Oh my God.
Well, he has fever, so he's lying down. उसी के लिए सोच के कर रहा हूँ. Is the rice done?
Yeah, sorry, my spirit.
No, it's still cooking. See?
Oh no.
Yes.
Shall we do the, because everybody has.
I am doing dosa. It'll be in one.
It is too late now, and it's already 1 o'clock. In 1 hour, our workshop is finished. So you just make the moong dal, and while everybody is eating, you can make the dosa. Because it just took too long.
Okay. No dosa.
It is already 1 o'clock.
Excited about it.
We'll do it. Let
You
us
made me
finish.
wait to start this, and now.
So give me 5 minutes to finish.
No, I will make the moong dal, the dal right now.
I guess everybody's
I have been
hungry, right? So
waiting-
we'll just
I have
finish the
been
dal and
waiting
have
for-
rice and dal and have lunch. Because I'm hungry.
Rice will be ready in about 6 minutes.
Yeah, I have a question. So I typically, when I order mung dal, I'll order it, I'm from an organic company online, and it comes yellow. But then the other day I went to Sprouts because I needed some, and then all they had was green split.
Yes.
What's
So-
the difference?
I will show you if you want.
Because I noticed I didn't like it. It's more like
So the
Sprouts.
green split is just basically it's been split. It should cook almost the same. It's just going to have a little bit more fiber in it.
I'll answer it here because I'm sorry. So okay? All right. Are we still on it?
Yes.
So this is, don't ever get it online because you'll pay 5 times the amount of price.
Where did you get yours?
It's like $6. Indian store?
Well, where's the good one? I don't know.
I will give you mine.
I'm
And,
intimidated because I don't
this
know.
is okay. Do we have
It's fun, but I just don't know what to.
I think I will. So this is the whole grain mung. Yeah? It has the husk on it, it has the fiber on it. That's what we are cooking today.
Okay.
When you cook this, you actually have to soak it because it's the actual seed of the mung. You can sprout it and you can do sprouting too.
I think that's what I must have done wrong because it wasn't the same consistency. It almost felt like a rice.
Yeah, no, and you have to soak it. Without soaking it, it'll be hard.
You soak it overnight, or?
I soak it overnight, but even if in summer, just soak it for an hour. And if it's really cold, soak it for a couple of hours. But I soak it all night. And this is the mung dal, which is the same. If you break it and take the green fiber out, it's called dehusking. Just like you take brown rice and you get the fiber out, you're left with white rice. So it has no fiber.
Oh.
That's why when we use it for khichdi, we have to give something to help digest this. So I won't say no fiber, low fiber. but it's very easy to digest. Ayurveda believes when your Agni is bad or Vishama, then you cannot digest a lot of fiber. So babies are not given brown rice in Ayurveda. Like here, they'll give brown rice to babies, but their digestive tracts are not well developed that they can have brown rice, so we do the white rice. Similarly, when someone is sick, they cannot digest that much. They can digest, I'm not talking about the fiber from fruit. Of course, you can digest it very easily. But the fiber from whole grains and beans should not be given to someone who's unwell while they're recovering. So the khichdi, when you're talking about a khichdi for an unwell person, this is the bean you want to use. Khichdi for a general, I just want to have khichdi today because I feel like it, and I want to have lots of fiber, then use this.
Okay.
Yeah. There's another khichdi. There's another mung bean, which is you take this and you cut it in half.
That's what you were talking about.
It's called mung chilka. Simply it means, it's called half mung. You get all three from Indian store. It's called mung, and mung chilka.
Okay.
And pay $6 for it, for like half a...
That's awesome. Yeah,
2
that's
pounds.
great.
Okay, I need to get started on
Okay.
this quickly because there's no time. Move, please. Okay, so we have boiled this. This is whole green mung. So it was cooked in the pressure cooker. We soaked overnight. Soaking it reduces you can see how the beans are very cooked and they're broken up. Because this whole green mung, what she was showing there, I'm going to put it here in front of the camera also. This is, it is actually a little difficult to cook. It takes some time to break down, so the pressure cooker uses a higher temperature. And so I've already added the salt. So we've got half a gallon here.
It's green mung?
Yes, this is whole green mung. So it has a kind of green color. I cooked it for about 40 minutes in the pressure cooker this morning. And then I've just kept it hot because I'm going to now make different chunks. Okay, so I'm going to shift over here now. So I'm going to do 3 chunks very quickly. I'm doing.
Saute.
So basically, we're going to put the spices in the hot oil. Here we go. And I'm going to add some of this cooked dal. So we'll have one for vata, one for pitta, and one for kapha. So I'm doing the vata one first. The vata version, I'm going to use ghee for the chunk. The other two I'll use oil. So I'm putting ghee. I'm letting the ghee heat up. And I am going to be using cumin and black cumin, kala jeera. Okay? So this pot is already hot. I'm putting the cumin in. Actually, I also want to use a little bit of fennel for this one. Fennel will help with decreasing vata. Okay? And the black cumin, I don't know if you've seen this, it is like a very fine caraway. It has a very subtle flavor to it.
Do you guys want to go near and see what he's doing?
And now I have taken this off because I'm going to add powdered spices. I'm adding a little bit of black pepper. I'm adding hing. I am going to add also, doesn't want to go back on the fire, I'm adding coriander powder and turmeric. It's a very simple chunk and it's not too hot.
A chonk
That
is
was
simply
too
you
much.
heat up the oil or the ghee.
That was too
Then
much.
I add the wet spices and you add the dry spices.
I added too much turmeric there. That's what happens when you're in a hurry. Okay. And now we will go ahead and add some of this cooked mixed dal in here. You can also do it the other way, but because we're making 3 separate chunks, and the reason we call it chunk is because it makes that kind of a chunk sound when you put it in. All right, so that's one. Is there a bowl I can put this in? Or I can put it in this? Yeah, I'll put it in the chai pot. All right, and the next one, we're going to do the pitta. I'm going to use, so this one is done. There you go. Here you go. And this one one I'm
This
going
one, what
to
are the
use,
spices? Why you pick the cup? What is it?
this is the vata.
And this was made with ghee?
Yes.
And now you're doing the,
And now I'm doing pitta.
and you're using it, which oil?
I am going to use canola oil.
You use coconut oil. I have
Fine.
coconut.
I'll use coconut oil.
Sorry.
Give me the coconut oil. See, when I'm the cook, I get to give her orders. Isn't that nice?
I take orders. You know, listen to them.
Yeah, no one is disputing that. So I'm going to put the coconut oil here.
Prabhuji, can you band karo the upar wala thing? Why everything is open?
Oh, wait.
Yes. Chalu ji's band karo.
Coconut oil gets very, when it's cold, it gets very stiff, very hard. So you have to kind of dig it out and then
You
getting
can
it.
go near and look at it. You don't have
Yeah.
to be afraid. Otherwise, how you would expect you to do this homework of doing this cooking?
So
go
I'm
ahead
going
and do
to
it, no
use.
problem.
So this is the pitta one, and I'm going to use a lot more coriander, and I'm going to use also hing, and I'm going to use more fennel with the coconut oil. I'm going to use some ginger.
Prabhuji, pitta mein ginger.
Yeah, I'm using less.
Acha.
And fresh ginger, right?
Yes. All right, so now the oil is hot, and you can smell the coconut smell there. I'm using a good amount of fennel. Fennel is slightly cooling as well as pacifying vata. Cumin is always good. I'm also going to use some methi. Oh, where is the methi? Methi is over
He's
here.
right on the seeds.
Yep, I got it. Here. Methi is the fastest roasting spice. And what else? And I'm going to add ginger. That will cool everything down. Just a little bit of ginger.
See the heavy duty little smoothie we had is already, as far as I'm concerned, it's already digested. You've had so many spices. Yeah. Otherwise, if you have a smoothie, you can't digest it.
And I'm going to add a good amount of coriander. Coriander powder is a spice that you want to use very generously, especially when you are trying to make tradishic things. Okay. And there we have our
Cumin.
pitta dal.
Can you put all the spices towards the sides?
Oh yeah, I meant to add also a little bit of black pepper, not a huge amount. We're making this if we were making for a pitta person who is, maybe they're a little bit aggravated pitta, it's going to be very calm. But even if we're calming, we're still going to use some black pepper. We don't want it to be completely bland. Bland food is not going to be easily digested. Okay, and now we're going to do the... Alright, I need to put this in the pot. Here we go. I'm going to use kapha.
ये पता है क्या हम लोग वो याद सुनो शुरू like when we drown the we have this thing probably what is the machine called vacuum sealer
Yeah, vacuum
so
sealer.
it keeps those powdered things quite fresh so instead of 1 month you can have it for 2 months
So for the kapha, I'm going to use jalapeno peppers, ginger, I'm going to use canola oil, I'm going to use cumin, very little fennel, and that's pretty much it. I'm also going to add some black pepper along with that. So put the canola in and let that heat up a bit. Get my, I already have jalapeno out here. If you want to use chili peppers, jalapenos are good. Really, we don't like to use hot peppers a lot. Hot peppers are actually not part of indigenous Indian cuisine. They were introduced later. But they are, according to the principles of Ayurveda, we go by the Panchamahabhautic composition of things. They're hot. They add heat to things. in moderation. Really hot peppers are just not going to be really good for you. So I've got the chilies here, and our oil is heated up. So I put the fennel seeds in, they start to roast a little bit, they crackle. I'm going to add a good amount of cumin, because remember, kapha person always needs, more fire, more fire. Kapha person is going to be somewhat, cool by nature. They're going to be more chilled out and relaxed, and they need help digesting. More ginger, a good amount of ginger. And I've got these jalapenos, which I just handled with my fingers, which I recommend you never do, because if you touch yourself in the face, or especially in the private parts, it can be very painful. Oh boy, let's not even go there. So, here we go, we've got everything there, and now the hing. Hing is a really good thing to have. I'm adding a little bit of turmeric, and I'm adding the coriander powder, a good amount, not quite as much as with the pitta dal. And we're done. So that's it. I'm just going to let this come all the way up to a boil, and we're done. So there you go. We've got 3 dals. We've got our butter rice is now done. And I have to let the pressure out so I can open it. So push, you can have some rice and dal.
We forgot about the plum chutney.
The what? The what?
Plum chutney.
Plum chutney. I can make plum chutney anytime, but
While everybody is eating, you can make it for us.
I will make plum chutney while everyone is eating. Fine.
So we have 3 different.
Okay, so it's lunchtime. Quick, so you can have some rice and dal?
Yes.
Okay, great. Can you push and
Yes.
start the...
I also have to feed the little one.
Yes. Don't worry about the little one. He's okay. Yes. All right.
Okay. Nobody ate all these things before. They were plantain chips were again.
Yeah, they're very tasty. It's hard to pass up something that's salty like that.
I guess they were like this, right? Yeah, we have like half the version and we've got like a quarter of it. I don't even know how I did it, because when I tried to do it,
Okay, and there is your kapadal.
Whoa.
Careful, careful. I'm going to take this over here.
Last but not least, we offer things to the divine. And we say some mantras that help. Which is the kapha? Which is the kapha though?
Oh,
Do the michi in it?
the karai. Yes, that is the yes. And this is the vata, and that is the pitta.
Yes, and last but least, when the food is ready, it should be offered to the divine.
It is also the fact is I do all this chatting when we're cooking, but when we cook, normally we want to do it in a very meditative mood, because whatever intentions, whatever thoughts that I have while cooking, this will go in the food. It's a very intimate connection, it is very, very intimate. And cooking for someone is a very intimate exchange. And if we cook and intending that we're going to make something as a love offering, that is also a type of loving exchange that we do. And it's a way of also invoking blessings in food. If you eat something that has been cooked with a very healing, loving, divine intention, the food tastes better, and it also has a healing effect. This is, It's not something that you can prove by a scientific study because there's no metric for love, right? And science is all about metrics, but we know as humans that love is such a fundamental thing, and cooking with love makes a difference. I don't think I have to really support that. It's just
अच्छा प्रभु जी अब आप plum chutney बनाओ, we are eating now.
I am making it. You do the feed my push.
Yes, yes. Come and eat, everybody.
I have to call
Sorry
his
we
Uber.
didn't give you any breaks.
I have to call his Uber in 10 minutes. Feed him now, because I have to call his Uber. So I'm making a plum chutney while you're all eating. Don't stop what you're doing there. I'm going to use ginger and red chilies and
Kush,
cumin.
please eat. You can just explain later, I think.
Yeah.
Kush! Hana! Kush!
Cloves. A little bit of nutmeg.
Yeah.
Use any oils in it?
Yeah. I am going to make chunk. I'm using ghee.
And fresh plums?
Fresh plums.
Yes.
For constipation. दरवाजा बंद करो. दरवाजा बंद करो.
Wait.
दरवाजा बंद करो.
I am getting things out of here, putting things back.
लाइव स्ट्रीम हो रहा है, लोग हमारी अलमारी देखें.
Nobody cares if you.
I care.
Yeah. All right. Let's get the plums ready.
No.
I saw it earlier.
Oh, you
Almost
did?
it, yeah.
Please.
Oh, you're gonna.
I just need to get my cutting board here.
Or like plastic.
Yeah, I do. Let me get them out.
Let me get them out.
Chris is eating?
I actually recycle them. Those go to my recycle. I do. I'm sorry. Indian me doesn't. No. Yeah, no. Ishan, I give him like the yogurt in school, and then he has to bring it back. It's either that or they like when you all this stuff remixed and compostable. All right, I think we are done.
So I'm just cutting the plums very quickly
thank
in
you.
quarters and getting them off the pits.
And now we can stop it. Stop.
What are you stopping? There's nothing to stop.
Oh, you're doing it through that RMTP.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to stop the RMTP.
Yeah.
Okay. Yay! We did it! So good. That was a lot of information. I'm sorry. That was like condensed information.
Is this going to be the end of the workshop now?
This
or?
is after the plum chutney we're done.
Okay.
I'm gonna take some rice to. The rice was not vegan, you know, right? Rice. is
Yeah.
vegan.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And some people do the vegan thing.
Yes, and the kapha dal, the vata dal is this is the only dal which is.
The other dals are vegan.
These two
Only
are
the
vegan. Yes,
vata
ma'am.
dal is
Thank
not
you.
vegan. It is vegan
some rice with a little.
Yeah, you can try. I don't know if he's hungry. He hasn't had anything. The food I offered him, he had a little bit of coconut water.
Well, I'll just give him the rice and ghee, and that's it.
Under the weather?
He woke up with a little fever, and he has been drinking the rooibos tea all day.
He's normally very energetic, bouncing off the
Yeah.
walls all day. So when he feels like staying in bed, it means he's really not feeling well.
How old is he? He's
Almost 6.
Almost.
Very archetypal pitta.
He told me, what do I do? I have to get some respect around here. It's barely I don't respect him. I said, no, I do respect you. Just because I'm 5 doesn't mean you can't respect me. Oh my God. What are you talking about? Yours is even, your little one is one step ahead of mine, so.
Oh my god. But he bounces off the wall.
I
even
know!
more.
He's like an agitated molecule.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, a hot agitated molecule. Yeah. Last time her baby was here, we have a little pond. He jumped in it, or what did you do?
Yeah, he jumped
He
in there.
literally was like, I want to get in there, and got in the pond. Luckily, it was
Has
just
fishes
one
in
leg.
it. Yeah.
He only got one leg, and I picked him up. I was like, great, we gotta go.
Yeah, we had a deeper pond in California, and I had a little fence around it when Ishan was small. But yeah, this one is so shallow, it's just messy.
Yeah, luckily it just like got up to his ankle. I mean,
Yeah.
his knee or ankle or something.
Yeah, the part where the lilies are is only about 6 inches deep, and then the other part's about maybe a foot deep. And that's it. Okay, so plum chutney, I am using canola oil. I'm going to get it nice and hot. And I'm going to use a special type of red chili that is popular in the state of Karnataka. It is called Yadegi chili. I have the bag upside down. You can see Yadegi chili. And you'll find many different types of chilies at Indian grocery stores. This is specifically one that's popular in the state of Karnataka in South India. You know, the state where Bangalore is, or Bengaluru. So I'm just going to use one. And I'm going to use a good amount of ginger. Chutney is a digestive. You want it to be, you know, and again, if you're going to start cooking and using all these spices, chutneys are a great thing to start with because you get your hands on the spices and you start that feedback loop. You have to practice it. It's like learning to ride a skateboard, you know, except that it doesn't hurt as much when you fall off. You just kind of have to start doing it, and you know, learn from your experience and from the feedback there. So I'm going to use a bit of fennel, some cumin that I put in the hot oil. I've already got some black pepper and nutmeg and cloves here. I'm going to put that in there. I'm adding ginger. And where did my chili go? Here it is. And that's it. So you can see this is a very simple, basic chunk for chutney. You can kind of smell it. You know, it's a little aromatic. That hot oil is releasing the scent of the spices. I've got these plums already cut up. The nice thing about the Yadegi chilies, they're not as hot as regular dried red chilies. They have a nice flavor. They are hot, but they're not super hot. In India, there are different regional cuisines. Some of them are hotter than others. Like Hyderabad cuisine has what they call chittinad. It's like crazy hot. You know, like I'm used to eating hot stuff. Manjulali's used to eating hot stuff. If we go to a Hyderabadi place, their stuff will be so hot. It's crazy. And according to Ayurveda, things that are too hot are actually not good for you. It will cause imbalance. It can cause pain. It can cause, you know, there are many problems that can result from having things that are too hot. So I've got this on here now. I am going to close this, and I'm going to add a little tiny bit of water to get the plums started. And the plums are going to cook very quickly. Plums have a lot of water in them. The peel of these black plums is also going to give us a nice color. So we're going to get a nice kind of purplish red color to this. I'm also adding a pinch of salt. So, you know, I'm adding, let's see, maybe probably about a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. That's always good to add for chutney. We will add some unrefined sugar, turbinado sugar, toward the end. And that's it. That's it for the plum chutney.
What was the first spice that you added?
So I added fennel.
Okay.
Fennel takes the longest to cook.
Okay.
So you add fennel first. And we have one of our things that's, we have a PDF which says there's an order in which you put spices in hot oil. So fennel, and then cumin, and then you would put your dried red chili, which I didn't do it in that order then, and then your fresh ginger, and then you would put any powdered spices in after that.
Okay.
Because the powdered spices, of course, as soon as you put them in hot oil, they'll just burn, and you don't want that. So now all I need to do is I need to just stir this and let it cook, and at the end, after it's cooked a bit, I'm going to add some unrefined sugar. Traditionally, most chutneys are sweetened. Some chutneys are French chutneys and they're not sweetened. You can use unrefined cane sugar. You can use there's actually a type of unrefined cane sugar that comes in cake form in India called gur. There's a very similar thing that they have in Mexico. I forget what they call it. It's it comes in these little cone-shaped things.
Is it the same as jaggery?
It is, yes.
Jaggery is good.
Yes, jaggery is good.
Okay.
And there is, and you get different qualities of jaggery also, depending on, you know, what type of cane was used as well. But anyway, yeah, you can use pretty much anything to sweeten it, and you don't have to sweeten it a lot, because there's, you know, everything is about shadrasatmika, you know, having all 6 tastes. We want to have a mixture of the different 6 tastes. And chutneys are nice because, you know, I might like this chutney to have more of it. Someone else might have just a little bit of it and mix it more. If they find it's too spicy, they'll just mix it with more rice, and you're good to go, right? So, you know, it's kind of like, it's hard to go wrong with making chutneys. And when you get used to it, you're getting used to using these different spices and, you know, putting spices in oil and so forth. So, you know, that's a good thing to do. So I'm just still letting this cook a bit.
Our compliments to the chef. Really.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So everything was okay?
It was
Yeah,
delicious.
right, thank you.
And actually said all 3 of the dals.
I took little rice pot and put all 3 out,
Okay.
and all 3 was delicious.
Okay,
And
that's
they
good.
tasted different.
Yeah, well, I think we ended up running out of time at the end, and but yeah, easily I could certainly go on doing more of this. So it was fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely going grocery shopping after this. I'm super excited.
Well, okay, good. Yeah, so we didn't get to do the dosa today, but you know, can't win them all. But I'm going to stick with this for a few more minutes. Yeah, and then I had just added some cloves and nutmeg. Oh yes, I need to call your Uber. You got your stuff you're working on? Yep. I just don't have enough.
I can drop him. Where does he want to go?
It's okay. It's like 12 minutes away, but
I can drop him. Yeah, no problem. That'll be my pleasure.
you want to do? Okay. All right.
If he doesn't want the direction, wherever I
But then if you were dropping him, he doesn't have to go for another 10 minutes. It's literally 12 minutes. Yes. Shall I text you the address?
Yeah, please.
Okay. think I do. I think I do. Let me see.
512, 396, 96. Easy to remember.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it 512?
396, 96.
Oh, that is easy to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There we go.
No, I'm fine. No, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Okay, did you get it?
Let me see, let me see. Yes, I got something. Yes. Yes.
The Shubhaji.
Yeah, yeah, I'll drop it.
You'll drop him.
Oh. Do you want me to make you a tortilla? A vegan tortilla?
Me?
I got it, yeah.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you, Shubhaji.
Compliments to the chef.
Oh,
You did a great job.
all right.
So you said all the recipes except that first drink that we made movie online?
Yeah.
What, would you mind going over just really quick what you put in the drink?
Chai?
Yeah, the
No,
chai.
I'm gonna have him write it down.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
Give me, I have another thing going on tomorrow and on Monday, but Tuesday, everything's within me.
Okay, cool.
It's non-stop.
Yeah, no problem.
No rest for the wicked. Ah, it is a joke.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, so this is pretty much done now, and I'm just going to add this turbinado sugar, and it'll be, there's different schools of making chutneys. Some people will make it sweet enough that it overcomes whatever tartness is there in the fruit. Others will be more minimal. I'm kind of in between. So if you want to see what the consistency looks like, and I think I can go ahead and stop streaming now.
Yeah, you're done.
So this just needs to simmer for another, 5 minutes or so.
And
That's
it'll
our-
thicken? Finally.
Yeah, it will. Well, any fruit has pectin in it.
Why
So you can see this when it cools down. This is going to be a little saucy. It's going to have a little bit of liquidity to it, but it is actually going to thicken quite a bit as it cools down.
I've heard of it.
So I'm going to actually turn this down. But the pectin in fruit naturally thickens it. So anytime you make a chutney with plums or apples, they're high in pectin and it's going to thicken. Chutneys are also very interesting because every type of apple makes a different chutney. If you make a chutney with Granny Smith apples, it's a very different chutney than if you use a sweeter apple like a Gala apple or a golden apple. It's going to be very different. Like if I'm making a chutney with a Granny Smith apple, I'll shred the apple up and I'll make a chunk, and I'll use green chilies and ginger and hing, and I will use a lot of cumin, and I'll maybe add some cardamom at the end as well, which is actually something I'm going to do for this one. I'm going to add a little bit of cardamom at the end. So this is a very simple, I just made the chunk with canola oil, and I added fennel and cumin, and a little bit of black pepper and nutmeg and cloves, and I'm just going to add a
You'll
little
just
bit
have to give us the recipe. I
Yeah.
don't have this recipe.
Yes.
Yes. Darwaza band kar. Darwaza band.
Oh, yes, but I got something out of here. What happened to where did my...
You're always cooking, all day. Sometimes you're doing the class and cooking at the
Oh.
same time.
This.
Yeah. Well, when Dr. Priyanka is doing the class, I'm usually cooking while
I sometimes look in her dosa while she's doing class.
Yeah, and if I'm doing class, he makes dosa, and I'm eating his dosa.
But dosa is a great thing to have because you keep this batter, it keeps in the fridge for 2 or 3 weeks, no problem. When things have fermented a little bit, they will tend to remain stable, and it doesn't grow fungus or anything on it because, believe me, I've left it in there long enough to see if it would do that. It keeps kind of like as long as you might expect yogurt to keep in the fridge. And of course, yogurt will eventually go funky if you keep it long enough, but it remains stable much longer than milk. But it's a great fast thing because you take it out, you heat up the griddle, you get it on there, and it cooks up very quickly.
Does anybody like my cassava tortillas?
They're
It's
excellent.
really good.
Yeah, so I'm making a few more. You know that thing I showed you, the cassava and all the herbs that I mixed in? I just added water. That's it, and then I'm making it on the griddle. And yes, I added the chili.
Yeah, those are really spicy. They're really good though.
But when you have it with the chutney, it's like, what?
Yeah.
This is supposed to be good for my evenings. Oh, by the way, the plum chutney, you know how people are so constipated sometimes they go to the bathroom once in 3 days or something? They must have plum chutney as part of their daily.
All right, I'm adding a little bit of cardamom at the end, and the plum chutney is done. And
It's so much better than prune juice to have a chutney, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Prune
I'm
juice.
going to
I'm sorry, I find it so.
Yeah, no. I can't do it. I don't do
Oh,
it.
yeah.
But
I
you know
also
what works for me, and this may just be because of my prakriti, but a papaya. If I have half a papaya, that'll have a more gentle effect, but it can sometimes be a little bloated in the meantime. But it has a very good cleansing effect. Let's say, usually within 12 hours. All right.
So when people come to you with food allergies, I can't eat anything. So this is when all these recipes are.
Yeah.
Because there are people who can't. I've had people who listed like 75, 80 things on the forms that they're allergic to. I said, why don't you write what you're not allergic to?
Yeah.
Because people are allergic to a lot of foods. Okay.
Okay, so plum chutney is done.
Yes, I want
And
to
I'm
make
going
sure
to
that
stop the
it's-
streaming. Okay, so for all of you who've been tuning in from Intertubes land, thank you very much. And somebody started recording on the SD card. Okay, we can stop that. Yes.
Oh, I was trying to stop it. Oh, sorry.
Yes, that's okay. All right.
You want to see how I'm making, if anybody's interested? I just put the powder thing on here and rolled it out.